I open this sacred space with a warm welcome. The room is quiet. Soft light rests on familiar edges. I speak with a voice that moves slowly. Each word is careful. Each pause is gentle. Settle where you are. Make this moment simple. Let your body find its place. Adjust the blanket. Rest the head on a pillow that supports. Ease the feet. Let the muscles that hold the day begin to soften. Breathe with me for a moment. Inhale through the nose. Feel the cool air travel in. Exhale through the mouth. Let tension leave with the breath. 2 more times. In, hold. Out, allow the rhythm to slow. Let the breath find a calm it likes. There is no hurry here. Listen to the small sounds around you. A distant fan, the hush of city night. The small shift of fabric as you settle. These sounds do not disturb. They fold into a quiet that supports rest. Let them be a gentle backdrop for what I will read. I am here to read from the Bible tonight. My aim is not to argue or to teach at length. I only want to bring a steady voice that guides the heart toward peace. The words I read hold mercy. They carry assurance. They meet the places where things hurt and offer rest. If anything in the day presses on the chest, name it quietly to yourself. A single word is enough. If sleep feels far, say that too. If worry flickers, allow it to sit without struggle. This place is built for softness. Pain is not dismissed. It is held. The word that I read will be a gentle companion. Not a quick fix. Imagine a small lamp inside. It is not bright. It is warm. It sits where your heart rests. The light does not demand attention. It simply steadies what trembles. Picture the glow widening a little with each breath. Let that image breathe with you. I will speak slowly. My pace is unhurried. Each phrase is space to allow listening. You do not have to follow the words with your eyes. Let them enter through the ears and descend into the quiet of the mind. If the mind wanders, let it wander kindly. Return to the sound when you are ready. Tonight's reading is chosen with care. The selections are short. They are simple. They bring comfort. They whisper mercy. They remind the heart of a steady presence that does not demand perfection. They invite rest. Before the reading begins, take a few moments to release the parts of the day that cling most tightly. Start with the shoulders. Drop them an inch. Let the neck soften. Unclench the jaw. Let the tongue rest. Soften the brow. Unfurl the hands. Let each finger loosen, as if setting down a small stone. Now turn attention inward. Notice the area around the heart. There may be tightness. There may be an echo of earlier words. Place a soft hand on that place in your mind. Imagine warmth there, not heat that burns, but warmth that comforts. Keep breathing. Let the warmth be steady. If weary thoughts arrive, meet them with mercy. Think of a small, steady phrase you can return to. It need not be fancy. A few words that feel like a pillow for the mind. Hold them gently. Let them ground the wandering. This hour is not for fixing everything. It is for rest. It is for trust in the presence that listens. I speak of Christ with tenderness. His mercy is a harbor. It welcomes ships that are worn by storms. No ship is turned away for being imperfect. Each is received. Each is given space to recover. You may have carried shame or sadness into this room. Set them down as if releasing stones into soft earth. See them sink. The soil of grace receives them. The weight does not disappear instantly. But it is no longer carried alone. That sharing is a balm. It does not minimize pain. It simply changes the burden. Think of a small lamp again. This time, imagine it growing a little brighter, as if the presence of mercy fuels the flame. The light spreads along the ribs, settles under the shoulders, moves down the arms, and comes to rest at the palms. It warms the knees, the feet, the forehead. Let that warmth be a signal that things can be gentled. If the body feels restless, use slow movement to help. Roll the ankles once. Flex the toes. Wiggle the fingers. These tiny shifts tell the nervous system it is safe to unwind. Return to stillness. Allow silence to return like a soft curtain. I read aloud with a voice meant for listening. I choose words that slow the heart. I allow pauses long enough for the soul to echo. During pauses, imagine the word settling like dew. It gathers in the small creases of worry. It softens hardened places. This is not a sermon. This is a bedside reading. It is an offering of quiet. Let this be simple. Goodness does not have to be complicated. Hope often arrives in small ways. A remembered kindness, a gentle thought of grace, a single breath that calms the racing. Recognize these small anchors. Let them do their work. If tears come, let them flow without shame. Tears are languages of release. They speak when words cannot. Each drop is noticed here. Each is met with care. If sleep comes early, that is all right. Allow it to take you. The reading will continue like a soft river. It does not demand that you stay awake. The presence that watches over us is steadier than waking. Rest becomes part of prayer. Sleep itself can be a form of surrender. Let it be so. For those who keep watch in pain or grief, know that this time is also for you. The word holds tenderness for those who ache. It does not ask you to hurry through the grief. It offers steady company through the night. Let that company be your companion now. You are not alone in the dark. The pace here is gentle on purpose. There is room for slow listening. There is space for the heart to respond in its own time. There is no requirement to perform, only to receive. Imagine a hand that does not prod, but simply rests beside yours. That is how this hour moves. I will read a passage now that speaks of rest and presence. Listen, without pressure. Hear the cadence. Feel the words fall into the quiet place inside. Let them wash over the places that need easing. Allow the sentences to be like slow rain on tired ground. Between passages, there will be a pause. Use the pause to find a deeper breath. Let the pause be a small altar where what has been heard may be placed. No explanation follows, only silence that holds meaning. If a particular line touches you, let it do so without analysis. The heart understands its own language. Trust that it knows what to take. Leave the rest behind. The word is not measured by comprehension alone. It is measured by the comfort it brings. Tonight, the reading is offered as a gift. Accept it if you wish. Let it lull the body. Let it steady the thoughts. Let it be a gentle tether to mercy. The night does not have to be conquered. It can be carried in trustworthy hands. As the first passage begins, close the eyes if that feels right. Soften the face. Rest the gaze inward. Keep breathing slowly. If you listen in the dark, the voice will be the lamp you follow. If you listen with eyes closed, the inner light will guide the way. This place is sacred because it is honest. Bring a quiet honesty to what you feel. There is no need for bravado. Vulnerability is welcome. It is the doorway to healing. The word meets vulnerability with compassion. Now the room settles deeper. Every small sound fades into a hushed presence. The breath becomes a slow tide. The lamp within glows steady and warm. I prepare to read. The words are chosen to be a balm. They are read slowly, with pauses like soft footsteps. Rest in the gathering hush. Let the body relax into the bed or chair. Let the mind soften its grip. The night is not empty. It holds the promise of renewal. Let the promise be gentle and real. I begin to read now, slowly and with care. I begin to read. Mi voice moves slowly. Each sentence is an invitation more than a lesson. The words come as a stream. They find the places that hold on tight. I speak of a shepherd who walks ahead. The path is quiet and green. There is a clearing where no hurry presses. The sheep are guided there. They drink at still waters. Their feet find soft ground. The image is simple. It is meant to settle the chest. Listen as the image rests. Picture a hand that guides without force. A staff that steadies without hurting. Trust is gentle. It grows in small steps. It asks nothing dramatic. It only asks to be followed for a short while. To feel the pace slow. Now the voice turns to an invitation that comes without reproach. The weary are invited to lay down their burdens. The invitation is kind and direct. There is no list of conditions, only a promise of rest. The rest offered is not the rest of avoidance. It is the rest of being held. Imagine laying a heavy sack on warm earth. The arms breathe. The shoulders drop. The body remembers how to soften. Breathe in slowly. Let the ribs widen. Breathe out and feel a quiet spread. The breath becomes a small metronome. It matches the rhythm of the words. The next passage speaks of peace that the world cannot give. This peace is neither shallow nor loud. It sits like a cool lake at dusk. The surface is glassed and calm. Storms may come near, but the lake keeps its stillness. When anxiety rises like a wind, the shore of peace remains. Let that idea rest. Think of peace as a simple blanket. It does not erase trouble. It covers it so that the body can rest. The mind may still notice the shape of worries beneath. That is all right. The covering is what we need in this hour. I read slowly about a presence that does not leave when darkness grows. It is with the wearer in the night. The presence walks alongside and does not demand a performance. There is mercy in the staying. Mercy is patient and unnoticed at first. It moves like a tide that comes in quietly, then lifts the edges of what is stuck. If resistance arises, name it with a single word. Say tired. Say anxious. Say empty. Then let the word float away as if placed on a small leaf. Watch it go down river. It does not vanish instantly, but it travels. A gentle passage follows about mercy meeting each day. Mercy is described as companion on the path. It follows closely. It does not tally mistakes. It only offers a hand. Imagine the hand resting on the back. No pushing. No pulling. Just steadiness. That hand has washed away much more than it seems. Its touch is ordinary and renewing. I pause long enough for the sound to settle. In the silence that follows, allow one thought to come close. This thought might be a simple truth, that being loved does not require proving. That being held is not earned by effort alone. The mind may want to argue. Let it be soft for now. The reading touches a promise of protection in quiet ways. The picture is of a shelter. It is not fortress-like. It is more like a small room where a lamp burns. The lamp is not blazing. Its light is measured. It keeps shadows from filling every corner. Under this lamp, a person can lie down. Sleep comes easier when the edges of darkness are not sharp. Let the face relax. Unclench the jaw. The tongue rests behind the teeth. The shoulders soften into the bed. Tiny adjustments make the body ready to receive rest. I return to the invitation of the night. Come with what you have. Bring the restless thoughts. Bring the stubborn grief. Bring the small, persistent joys too. Nothing is too small to be noticed. Nothing is too big to be welcomed. Every feeling is allowed in this quiet company. There is a short image of a lamp again. This lamp is held by a steady hand. The light spreads slowly across a table. It touches a cup, an open book, a pair of hands. The light does not demand attention. It simply names what is there. Seeing becomes easier when light is present. As I read, I watch how the breath changes. The rhythm slows. A lengthened out-breath appears. The shoulders fall an inch. The muscles at the jaw let go. Gentle movements around the face tell me the body answers the words. The next passage I read speaks of rest as a gift, not a prize. It is given, not earned. This idea is small but deep. The notion of rest as an offering changes the posture of the heart. Instead of striving, there is receiving. Instead of pushing, there is allowing. The word receives a pause. Let the ears hold the thought like a small stone. Turn it over in the quiet and feel its weight. I read about the night as a teacher. Nights bring questions that daylight smooths. They bring sharp edges of memory that seem louder in the dark. Yet nights also hold the possibility of new beginnings. The soil of sleep is where small seeds of hope can be planted. They are hidden at first. They are not seen until morning. Trust in that hiddenness as a gentle promise. Pause and notice a single sensation in the body. Maybe warmth in the chest. Maybe a soft tension at the temple. Rest there for a moment. Offer a tiny kindness. A thought like soft water poured over strained places. The reading shifts to an image of hospitality. The space is prepared, like a table set at evening. There are familiar things on the surface. Nothing flashy. A bowl, a small loaf, a cup of water. The host does not ask for grandeur. The hospitality is intimate. It says you may come as you are. The invitation is restful. It calls no one to perform. Allow the mind to imagine stepping into that room. The chair is waiting. The cup is warm. The conversation is quiet. Without urgency. In that imagined room, the heart breathes differently. Softness has its own shape there. I speak of mercy arriving like morning, though sometimes it comes in the middle of the night. It arrives even when readiness is absent. The arrival is not dependent on the exactness of the moment. It finds the place where the person rests or struggles. Mercy is both present and active in small ways. It is often ordinary and without fanfare. Another passage tells of a peace that steadies thinking. It does not correct every thought, but it steadies the stream. That steadiness is the point. The aim here is not to make the mind quiet by force. It is to teach a gentleness that the mind can practice. Listen for that gentleness within the next breath. I read a brief reminder that sleep can be a form of trust. Closing the eyes and surrendering to rest is a small yielding. It is a trust in steadiness that does not require constant vigilance. Let that notion rest. Consider sleep as a tiny prayer of trust. The voice softens. The pace slows further. There is space given between sentences for living impressions to settle. The silence is part of the reading. It is not empty. It is full of listening. I offer a short blessing for the night. The blessing is quiet. It asks for gentle recovery, for small consolations, for rest that stitches together the day. The words are few. They hold an openness rather than a demand. When the blessing fades, a deliberate silence follows. This silence is like a small room with a closed door. Inside the room, things are allowed to be exactly as they are. No hurry, no immediate fixing, just presence. If sleep comes now, let it take its place. If wakefulness remains, rest in the quiet that the reading has made. Continue to breathe with the same slow cadence that guided the words. Each breath is a tiny anchor. I prepare to close this part of the reading. The next section will continue in time. For now, place the small images encountered tonight into a safe pocket inside. Carry them gently. They are meant to return with you if the mind stirs. The final act here is a simple invitation. Fold the hands lightly, or lay them by the sides. Soften the face. Allow the ribs to move freely. Let the breath carry you toward rest. Know that mercy is present. Steady and without hurry, I end this portion with hope. Hope is small and steady. It does not demand immediate change. It simply trusts that healing moves in quiet ways. Rest now. The next reading will come when the time is right. The voice goes quiet. The room keeps a slow, steady hush. I turn the light down a fraction more. The room keeps its soft hush. The small lamp at my side breathes a little brighter against the dim. I sit very still and let the quiet carry the end of the last passage. my voice remains slow. My aim is to stay near what helps the tired rest. Tonight I think of this video as an outstretched hand. It is simple. It is not a proclamation. It is a room open to a neighbor. The camera does not glare. It rests like a watching eye that does not demand anything. Through the lens. The invitation is gentle. Come in. Linger. Rest a little with us. The invitation is not to fix. It is to share a calm that waits. I speak now of a verse that has a small lamp for many nights. It often sits on the table of the heart when the world feels heavy. I read it softly, not as a test of knowledge, but as a tiny comfort. The Lord draws near to the brokenhearted. Presence comes quietly to those whose spirits feel crushed. The words are short, like a touch. They do not explain everything. They simply promise a nearness. I let the sentence settle. Picture a close friend who leans in and does not ask the hardest questions. Picture hands that simply rest on shoulders. Picture a room where no one measures the amount of pain. The nearness is like that. It is a simple closeness. It arrives in silence more than in sound. When I read these words at night, I imagine a small healing that is almost homeopathic, a tiny touch that eases the ache inside the ribs. The image is of a warm cloth placed gently on a brow. It does not cure instantly. It soothes enough for sleep to come. The presence in those words is less a remedy and more a companion in the waiting. I describe this nearness with small pictures. There is a porch light on when someone comes home late. The light does not banish the dark, but it names a safe place. Someone waits there to take a coat, to make tea, to listen without needing an answer. The porch light is like the promise of the verse. It stands for welcome without judgment. Think of breath as a way to feel that presence. Breathe in slowly. Let the air come into the belly. The presence I read of does not rush the breath. It matches it. It does not demand a faster pace. It steadies the rhythm to a quieter place. Each out-breath is a small letting go. Each in-breath is a small acceptance of being held. The video, I imagine, carries these same gentle scenes. No grand claims, no flashy music, just quiet rooms with lamps, a hand on a knee, a slow cup of tea, a book left open where someone fell asleep. The visuals are unadorned. They invite a tired person to feel seen, rather than sold to an idea. The invitation is to a community that listens more than it instructs. I suggest small ways to enter that community. One can watch quietly from a corner. One can let the images wash over the day's rough edges. One can stay for one 5-minute pause. One can return another night. There is no pressure. The welcome is ordinary. It meets life where it already is. I reflect on what it means to be broken-hearted. It is not only sorrow, it is the feeling of being split in the place where trust used to live. Wounds are often private. They have names that only the sleeper knows. The promise of nearness reaches into that privacy. It does not demand a diagnosis. It offers a steady presence in the dark room of the heart. Mercy, as I read it tonight, is more like shelter than triumph. It is a small roof over an exposed place. It is a blanket, folded and handed without a long speech. Mercy shows up in ordinary steps, a neighbor bringing a casserole, a friend sitting in silence, a voice reading a verse over the phone. These small mercies carry weight. They do not solve everything. They keep the sleeper safe enough to rest. I speak slowly about how grief and hope can live together. They often share a pillow. Grief takes up space. Hope slips in beside it and does not crowd out the sorrow. This is quiet companionship. It is the promise that life can hold both mourning and a tiny, stubborn trust that morning will come. The verse that says God is near to the brokenhearted feels like that living together. In the hush, I offer an image for the mind to visit. Imagine a small room with a single window. Outside, night moves quietly. The moon is a calm witness. Inside, a person sits with a cup of warm water. On the table, a folded note reminds them they are not alone. The window does not change the weather, but it offers a view that something larger keeps watch. That something is the nearness I read of. I remind listeners that the presence in the verse does not erase the cause of the pain. It does not pretend that things are otherwise. It simply keeps company through the ache. This kind of keeping company matters. It is the kind of comfort that helps a person breathe more easily. It is the kind of mercy that allows small mending to begin. I speak of how community can echo that nearness. Community gathers not to fix every brokenness, but to share a table and to sit in silence. A gentle community has few rules. The most important one is simple stay. Stay when someone wearies. Stay when the story loops back to the same wound. Stay when words fail. The video invites people into that kind of staying. To those who feel too raw to join a room of people, know that watching a quiet video is its own way of entering. Quiet images and steady words can form a soft border around a restless mind. The sense of being included can travel through a screen. The feeling of not being alone travels across the small distance and lands where it is needed. I recommend a small practice for the night. Choose one short phrase to repeat slowly with each breath. Something like you are near, you are held, you may rest. Keep it simple. Let the phrase be a soft anchor. It does not carry all the answers. It simply steadies the heart for the night. There is also a small invitation to act gently toward others. If someone comes to mind who is struggling, send a soft message. A line that says, I am here. No pressure. A voice left on an answering machine. A cup of tea left at a door. These are ordinary ways to embody the nearness the verse speaks of. They are small demonstrations of mercy in practice. I pause and let the silence hold the image of the porch light, the warm cloth, the cup of water. In the pause, the words breathe with the listeners. The silence is not empty. It is full of quiet invitations to rest and to keep watch in kindness. Before I close this part, I offer a short blessing. The blessing is unadorned and slow. May the nearness you need press gently into the places that ache. May mercy, like a small lamp, burn steady by the bedside. May sleep come without demands, and may the morning find small comforts waiting. I fold my hands lightly for a moment. The pause feels like a small door closing with care. The camera remains patient. The community stays quiet and open. The next part will continue this slow pacing. For now, carry the lamp and the porch light in the mind. Let the promise of nearness rest there. Breathe once more, slow and soft, and allow the room to keep its hush until the next voice returns. I settle back into the hush and let the last images rest. The lamp is near but not bright. Its glow gathers in a small circle. The sound of my voice is softer now. I tell a story that is quiet and true. It is a bedtime story about someone I love. It is small. It is meant to be held in the dark. My sister is the one who comes to mind. She is not famous in any way. She keeps a little house with a worn doormat and an old kettle. Her hands know how to mend seams. Her laugh has a way of returning the room to ordinary order. A season comes when ordinary steadiness slips. A worry grows like ivy along a wall. It presses into sleep, into appetite, into the way evenings lengthen. I go to her house one night. I do not announce myself. The kettle is steaming on the stove. The living room lamp is low. She sits on the couch with a scarf wrapped twice around her neck. The scarf is not for the cold so much as for some invisible ache. I sit beside her. Neither of us speaks at once. The quiet is enough for a small conversation. I read from the Bible. I choose short lines tonight. I do not aim to fix what is broken. I only offer words that have held people through nights before ours. The passage I choose speaks of a presence that stays near the broken and the worn. It speaks of quiet comfort, of hands that do not demand a tidy response. The language is plain. It lands like a soft foot upon a weary floor. She listens with her eyes closed. The breathing slows a little. A corner of her mouth loosens. The scarf is loosened an inch. When I pause, I let silence do the rest. In that silence, I fold a blanket across both our knees. The blanket is thin, but it is warm in the simple way of everyday things. The kettle continues to whisper on the stove. Steam curls like a small prayer. Later, we take a short walk outside. The streetlights are neighbors to the parked cars. Our steps are slow. No plan guides us. The air carries the smell of wet pavement. She points to nothing in particular. A small bird rustles in a nearby hedge and then settles. We stand a little while and watch it. The bird does not fix all that aches, but it is a witness that life moves on in small, steady motions. Back inside, I bring a cup of tea. Hands shake a little when they lift things. So the cup sits on a coaster. The steam from the tea warms the sides of the cup. We hold it in both hands for a moment, as if the heat itself is a kind of prayer. There is no long speech. There is only the offering of warmth. The Bible passage hums at the edge of the evening. Its lines return like a tide. It seems. The night presses in again. Memories and loose ends sit at the corners of the mind. I do not try to push them away. I name them in a small way. A soft phrase becomes a tether for the breath. You are not alone. I say as part of the reading. The words are not loud. They arrive like a hand placed on the shoulder. Nothing dramatic happens. The hand simply rests. She tells me, without telling a long story. that once she thought solace would look like a sudden lifting. Expectation is sharp like a nail, and often hurts when it fails. Quiet consolation is different. It arrives slowly. It arrives in the ordinary, the kettle, the scarf, the cup of tea, the presence that will not leave. In the telling, the mouth has a slight tremor. The tremor is real. The story does not erase it. It simply keeps company with it. I read a verse that speaks of a shepherd who comes close in the night. The shepherd image is simple and human. It does not erase the fear. It steadies the feet. It keeps watch. The picture is not heroic. It is practical. It is a steady step beside shaky ground. As the words fall, the breath in the room follows them. The rhythm of the voice becomes a metronome for resting. Night after night, small habits form. A short reading before the bed, a slow cup of tea, a quiet walk to watch the stars poke at the dark. A note left on the table with one sentence, folded and gentle, I am here. The sentence is not an argument. It is a small lamp left at the doorstep. It is an offering of nearness. This is how mercy moves when it is human. It is not always a thunderclap. It is often a steady ember. One evening, a friend brings bread. It is simple bread, still warm. Hands break the loaf and share the pieces. Sharing is not an attempt to fix. It is a way to make the night less empty. The act itself makes space to breathe. The presence that the Bible speaks of is sometimes embodied in other people who show up with bread and a listening ear. Mercy is ordinary in that way. There are nights when tears come without ceremony. They do not ask permission. They fall and are noticed without judgment. The reading stops briefly. Silence becomes a blanket. Hands move to cups of tea, to tissues, to a steady palm. Comfort is not measured by eloquence. It is measured by the willingness to remain, to stay while the night is long. Slowly, the story bends toward a form of gentleness. The heart does not fix itself overnight, but small repairs begin. A longer sleep here and there, a morning where the weight is a shade lighter. The ancient words that I read do not promise instant change. They promise a presence that does not desert the ache. That promise seeds trust like a small plant beneath fallen leaves. Growth is slow. It is still good. I always return to a simple practice. Before sleep, I read again a line that says, "The one we lean on draws near." The sentence is short enough to carry on the breath. It is not a formula. It is an invitation to trust that presence in the dark. The line is repeated not as a chant, but as a reminder that rest is allowed. That permission is a gift for a tired heart. One night, she tells me that the presence felt different. It felt less like being watched and more like being kept. The difference matters. To be watched can feel like inspection. To be kept is to be cradled. The story is soft at this point. I do not ask for proof. I only listen as the voice grows steadier. The edges of worry remain. But they are not the only shapes in the room. A memory rises in her voice of a childhood porch light, a parent waiting with a coat. The lamp did not banish all danger. It named a place where safety was possible. The memory is small and bright. It becomes a touchstone for the nights that follow. We return to that image when darkness presses. It helps to have one clear picture to carry in the pocket. There are also ordinary acts of devotion. A note tucked into a pocket. A short text that says, "Thinking of you." No need to reply. A cup placed on the porch step at dawn. These things look small. They are not small in their effect. They accumulate like drops of rain that soften the ground. The Bible reading becomes the root of such acts. Mercy grows through these small gestures. I end many nights by making a simple blessing together. The blessing is short. It asks for rest and for a mercy that stays. It asks for sleep that repairs where words cannot. The lines are not ornate. They are quiet and clear. The blessing is not a promise of immediate cure. It is an assurance that someone watches with steadiness. It wraps the room in a tender expectation. In the weeks that follow, she learns to take the gentleness with her. The scarf is still worn. Sometimes the kettle still whistles, but the steps regain a little more certainty. Letters from friends arrive like small anchors. The Bible lines read at night remain as a resource when a hard moment comes. The practice of short reading and a steady presence is the go-to. It does not dissolve grief. It changes how grief is carried. I tell this story not as a sermon, but as an invitation. There is a way of living that minds small mercies. The story shows how God's love might look like hands that do not demand perfection, like lamps left burning, like bread shared at odd hours. These are real, human ways mercy enters the night. If you have a similar story, keep it close. If you do not, imagine one quietly. Picture a lamp, a cup, a note. Let the imagination make room. The heart learns to rest when small images hold their shape. I close the story now with a short reading. The verse I pick speaks of a nearness that does not abandon the broken. The words fall slow and steady. They are a small harbor in the night. Let them settle into the place that aches. Let the breath follow them. Let sleep come, slow as a river. Before I go, a gentle blessing for the night. May the presence you need find you in quiet ways. May mercy arrive with small acts of care. May rest come without demands. May morning bring tender things to sustain the day. The lamp is dimmed by a fraction. The room keeps its hush. The story rests. The next reading will come when the hour is right. For now, keep the cup warm in your hands and the image of a steady light in your mind. Breathe once more, slow and soft, and allow the evening to carry you toward calm. I settle the book gently on my lap and breathe with the room. The hush is deepening. The small lamp at the side throws a soft circle of light. The voice slows even further. The words I will speak come like a walk toward a simple door. There is a passage I return to often. It is short and kind. It offers an invitation more than a command. It asks for a rest that is not earned and a gentleness that does not demand perfection. I read it in my own way tonight. I let the sense of the words shape each sentence, rather than the exact letters. The invitation goes to the weary. It goes to the burdened. It asks them to come and lay down heavy things. It offers a yoke that fits easily. It promises a heart that is not harsh. Hear the scene I hold as I speak. Imagine shoulders that have carried the day. Small stones sit in a satchel across them. Each stone has a name. The stones can be work, guilt, worry, the dull ache of loss. The satchel may be old. It clings. The invitation is to set it down. Place it at the edge of the bed, as if setting down a coat. It stays there. No one takes it away by force. It simply rests where it is put. The gentle yoke I read of is not a heavy iron contraption. Picture instead a soft strap made of woven cloth. It sits across the shoulders and shares the weight. When two share a yoke, the burden becomes measured and steady. One does not stagger alone. The load becomes something carried together. This is the way of rest. I mean, it is not absence of work. It is a sharing that eases the spine. As I say these things, follow the breath. Inhale slowly. The belly rises like a small sail. Exhale with equal length. Imagine the satchel on the shoulders loosening with each out-breath. Picture hands lifting the strap and laying the bag down by a bedside lamp. The action is quiet. It is your permission to stop carrying everything at once. I speak of learning in the softest terms. Learning does not require cleverness. It is not a test of mental agility. It is the heart's slow settling into a new rhythm. A child learns to walk by trusting a hand. So the heart learns to trust rest by feeling a steadier hand beside it. The request to learn is gentle. Notice the change when the shoulder is freed. Notice the deeper breath. There is a short story that returns in the mind when the heart needs support. A farmer and a mule share a load along a narrow lane. The mule is stubborn, and the farmer knows it. Instead of forcing the animal, the farmer adjusts the yoke so it sits comfortably. The mule moves. The lane is long but steady. No rushing. The burden does not vanish, but the journey becomes possible. That is the image I bring when the night feels too long. A very small practice helps the idea move from thought to body. Take the palms and lay them flat over the place where the satchel would be. The hands may feel the tension through fabric. They may feel only the skin. Keep them there for 4 slow breaths. On the first breath, think the word come. On the second, think the word rest. On the third, think of the yoke as gentle. On the fourth, let the words melt into silence. This is not magic. It is a way to let a concept find a home in the body. Notice how the spine changes with this practice. The chest softens. The jaw loosens. The feet rest more fully on the floor or under the covers. Small muscles that hold worry begin to ease. The world does not immediately reorder. The night does not promise instant solution. It does promise a steadier posture to meet what comes. When the mind argues, return gently. Arguments are loud in the dark. They demand to be right and often forget the possibility of rest. Offer a brief answer that does not debate. It is enough to say with a calm breath that rest is allowed. The mind may insist on reasons. Let it have a small corner to rant. Keep returning to the breath. The breath is less opinionated than thought. It is a safe place to land. Sometimes the invitation to rest comes as an image rather than a sentence. Picture a slow river. The river does not hurry to remove stones from the bank. It moves around them with patience. The water keeps going. The stones are not ignored. They are simply borne by a broader movement. In the same way, rest does not make the stones vanish. It makes walking beside them easier. There is mercy in being invited rather than compelled. The tone matters. A bossy word can tighten the body. A soft hand can unbend it. The words I read tonight are the hand. They do not scold. They do not list failures. They name a simple truth. The heart can be eased without proving worth. The acceptance is not transactional. It is a simple reception. For those who have kept vigil for a long time, for those who feel the night as a heavy weight, there is a special allowance. Come with what you have. Bring not only the large sorrows, but the small, petty annoyances too. Bring the thin threads of regret. Nothing is too messy to set down. The act of placing things on the edge of the bed is not a surrender of responsibility. It is a reallocation of where burden is held. It becomes something held by a larger steadiness. I recall a quiet evening where the simple image of placing a heavy box on the floor made the difference. The hands had been sufficient until they were not. Laying the box down did not fix everything. It did allow a binding breath. The chest resumed a calm cadence that had been missing. The sleep that followed was not flawless. It was real and rest-giving. As the reading continues, a practice of short phrases helps the ear carry the idea into sleep. Choose one phrase that feels like a small pillow. Keep it short. Let it be repeated with the out-breath. Phrases such as come and rest, or lay it down, or you are held. Speak only in your mind. Match it to the length of the exhale. Do this for 10 slow breaths, and then let the phrase dissolve into silence. There will be mornings when the satchel is still at the bedside. The work of life resumes. The yoke may feel awkward again. That is all part of the pattern. Rest is not a single act. It is a rhythm. Practice it in small increments. A minute here, 2 minutes there. The steady habit grows a more patient muscle in the heart. The reading closes this segment with an image of a gentle teacher standing not at the center of the room but beside the bed. The teacher's hand rests lightly on the shoulder. The lesson is less about how to be perfect and more about how to breathe. The teaching is lived rather than argued. It is modeled in the sitting, in the staying, in the bread offered at curious hours. This is how the world of mercy often looks ordinary and faithful. Before the voice dims, a brief blessing is offered. May the weight you carry find a place to rest. May the yoke you accept be gentle. May the breath you keep be a steady partner to the night. May small sleep come and mend the places that worry has frayed. The lamp flickers by a fraction. The book is closed with care and kept within reach. The room holds its hush. The next reading will come when the hour returns. For now, let the hands lie soft on the chest. Let the breath be your metronome. Lay the satchel down. Allow the night to do its tender work. I ask only for a few quiet minutes. We breathe together. The room is still. My voice is a soft guide. Slow and steady. Place a hand on the belly, if that feels right. Place the other on the chest, or let it rest by your side. Feel the weight of the palm. It is a gentle measure of this moment. Breathe in slowly through the nose. Count in your head for 4. Let the air fill the belly first. Then let the ribs widen. Hold the breath lightly for 2. Release through the mouth for 6. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. The out-breath carries the day away. Breath by breath. Repeat this pattern with me 3 times. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let each cycle be calm and full. Do not force. Let the breath find its easy line. With the second cycle, imagine a small lamp at the center of your chest. It is warm and steady. Each inhalation fans the flame a little. Each exhalation smooths the light into a wider circle. The lamp does not demand. It simply lights the space that feels dim. On the third cycle, picture a hand over the lamp. The hand is not heavy. It is steady and kind. It rests there, as if to say you are not alone in this room. The hand does not remove the pain or the worry. It only keeps company with them. That company itself is a quiet healing. Now let the breathing slow a touch more. Inhale for 4. Pause for 2. Exhale for 8. Stretch the out-breath without strain. Think of the breath as a tide. The inhale is the sea drawing near the shore. The exhale is the tide going back, leaving the sand smoother than before. I read a short line from the Bible quietly, not to argue, only to invite rest. The line speaks of an open invitation to the weary to find rest. It is an invitation, not a demand. Hear it as a bedside reach rather than a list of things to fix. Let the words fall into the space the lamp creates. With each breath, name one small thing you wish to lay down. It may be a name, a feeling, a single word. Think of it as a smooth stone. On the exhale, imagine setting that stone on the edge of a path. You do not have to bury it. You simply set it down for a while. The setting down is the act of mercy we practice now. We take 5 more breaths in this softer pattern. Inhale 4. Hold 2. Exhale 8. With each cycle, let the stones pile gently at the edge of the path. They do not disappear. They are noticed. They are attended to. The body feels some movement away from carrying them. Now move attention slowly through the body. Start with the forehead. On an inhale, invite the forehead to soften. On the exhale, let the brow relax like a curtain lowering. Move to the eyes. Soften the lids. Let them rest like shutters in the evening. The jaw follows next. Loosen it. The tongue rests behind the teeth. The shoulders fall a fraction. Each out-breath makes a small room for rest. Return to the breath and lengthen the pause after the inhale by 1 count. Inhale 5. Hold 2. Exhale 9. The added pause is gentle. It is a small room where mercy can sit. Imagine the mercy as a quiet guest who speaks with no rush, who listens more than it tells. I read another short line from Scripture. The language is plain. It speaks of nearness to those whose hearts feel cut. Hear it as the same hand that leaned in at the lamp. The words are not a cure-all. They are a soft presence in the dark. Let them be a companion to the breath. On the next exhale, Picture warmth, traveling down the arms to the fingertips. The warmth is like a soft cloth passed over the skin. It does not chase away memory. It makes the present moment easier to hold. The hands may unclench. Fingers may widen. Allow them their rest. We slow still more. Inhale 5. Hold 3. Exhale 10. Breathe long enough to listen. With each out-breath, sense a letting go deeper than the last. The spine settles. The feet sink into the bed or floor. The muscles that kept you vigilant all day begin to unfurl like a weary flag finding the rest of no wind. If a thought rushes in, do not chase it. Greet it with the same kindness used for the stones. Name it gently. Watch it float away on a small leaf. As you exhale, return to the counting. Let the counting be a steady harbor. I read a small instruction from the Bible in a softer tone, one that has led people to sleep before. It calls to those who are burdened with heavy loads and offers a different kind of weight to bear. The promise is not a task to complete. It is an offering of steadiness. Let it be a pillow for the mind. Imagine now a safe room with a window that opens to a mild sky. The air carries the scent of something ordinary, a book, wet earth, a kitchen tool. The details are small. That is the point. Mercy often arrives in the ordinary. Let the ordinary settle like a blanket. We practice a final cycle of slow breathing. Inhale gently for 6. Hold for 3. Exhale for 12. Stretch the exhale as far as it goes, without strain. Count slowly. Feel the chest emptying like a cup poured out. Notice how the silence after the out-breath is as important as the breath itself. In the hush that follows, feel the steady presence I have been reading about as a quiet shoulder beside yours. It is not loud. It does not command. It simply is. Allow the sense of being accompanied to rest against the slow cadence of the breath. If sleep arrives now, let it come. No award needed. No proof required. Fall into it as into a warm garment. If wakefulness remains, keep the hand on the belly and continue a gentler version of the breath. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 8. Let the rhythm be your companion through the night. I offer a short blessing as the breathing practice draws to a close. May the breath you keep be a quiet balm. May mercy, like a small lamp, rest near you. May rest come without pretense. May morning bring soft repair and small consolations. Before I step back, place one tiny phrase in the mind. Something like you are not alone. Or you may rest. Keep it short. Let it be a tiny anchor. Repeat it once with an out-breath, then let it dissolve into the silence. I lower my voice. The lamp remains gentle. The breath continues. Whether you hear it or not, the pause after exhalation is a small room where grace moves. Stay in that room as long as you need. When you are ready, allow the mind to drift from instruction to ordinary thoughts. Let the body lead. The breathing exercise has no finish line. It is a gift you may return to whenever the night tightens. I keep my hand near the book. The room stays quiet. I will read again in the next part. For now, Let the rhythm of slow breathing carry you. Let the small lamp inside grow steady. Allow sleep or calm wakefulness to come in its own time. The hour is kindly held. The mercy promised is present. Rest here. I lift the book again and let the small lamp rest at the edge of the page. The room keeps its hush. My voice stays low. I read as one who sits at the bedside, not as one who declaims. The words come slowly, like steps on soft earth. I begin with the verse I carry most nights. I speak it simply. I say that steadfast love does not end. I say that mercies do not run out. I say they are new every morning. I add that faithfulness is large and steady. The cadence of the sentence is itself a kind of comfort. Hear that thought like a small bell. It rings once and then lets silence do the work. Imagine a morning light bending into a room. It arrives without need for grand ceremony. It lifts dust into a golden hush. The light does not pretend the night was easy. It only shows that a new day is beginning. Mercy arrives much the same way. It is not a dramatic reversal. It is a quiet renewal. I hold the image of dew on grass. Each blade carries a tiny mirror. No drop argues that yesterday was different. Each drop simply rests and reflects the light. Grace can feel like that. It is not a fix that erases scars. It is a freshness that touches them and makes room for a new breath. Sometimes mercy feels like the first cup of tea in the morning. The water warms the hands. The steam opens the chest a little. No solution appears. Yet a warmth is present that changes how the rest of the day starts. I invite you to imagine that warmth now. Breathe in the steam. Let it steady the shoulders. There is a short practice that helps this idea settle into the body. Name 3 small mercies from your day. They need not be great. An ébors polythnod, a small meal that tasted good. The sight of a bird at the window. Say them quietly to yourself, one after the other. Each naming is like placing a pebble on a windowsill. The pebbles collect light. I guide a slow breath as you do this. Inhale 2 counts. Hold 1. Exhale 4. With each exhale, imagine placing 1 pebble. Let the weight of the day be counterbalanced by these tiny things. The practice does not erase the harder parts. It only gathers some small evidence that mercy visits in small ways. I turn the page and offer another soft line. I speak of a comforter who comes near when sorrow presses. The language is plain. It says that comfort given to us may become comfort we give. Picture a cloak passed from one shoulder to another. The cloth is not luxurious. It is enough to warm the chest. When we are warmed, we can warm others in turn. Think of the act of sharing as ordinary. A hand offered at a moment of stumbling. A brief message that needs no reply. A loaf set on a neighbor's table. These acts are small. They are also the daily work of mercy. They make the world less sharp for someone else. They return the mercy we first received. I ask you to rest your hands on your lap or on the bed. Feel the small weight of your palms. Let them be instruments of gentleness, both given and received. Hold the image of the cloak for a few breaths. Each inhalation brings cool air. Each exhale lets the cloak sit more easily on the shoulders. The mind may wander to questions. What if mercies feel distant? What if mornings come with the same heaviness? I do not offer answers that fix everything. I do offer a way to stay. Presence itself is a kind of answer. It is a hand that does not push. It is a lamp that stays lit. Presence keeps company with what hurts. Tonight, I read a verse about faithfulness, like a great, slow ocean. The ocean moves whether any one person notices. Its rhythm is patient. It touches the shore again and again. Faithfulness works in similar fashion. It returns. It repeats its care. It does not tire of coming close. Picture a shoreline at dusk. The tide does not hurry. It comes in and goes out with a natural timing. Standing there. You cannot force the tide to be different, but you can notice its steadiness. You can allow it to mark time for you. Mercy does not promise immediate change. It promises a rhythm that holds. I suggest a small nightly habit. Before you close your eyes, choose one of the mercies you named. Keep it like a single lantern. Bring it to mind and let it glow for 3 slow breaths. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold 2. Exhale 6. Let the lantern's light be the last thing you carry into sleep. There are evenings when the lamp feels too small. There are nights when the list of mercies seems thin. That is all right. Thin lists are real. They do not mean absence of care. They mean that mercy sometimes moves in a very quiet way. Even one small light can change how a room looks. I return to a line that speaks of mornings renewing our strength. That thought is not a demand to do better by dawn. It is an observation about the way time can be a friend. Worn places gradually heal. New stamina appears in small measures. The heart learns a little at a time to open again. Imagine a seed beneath soil. It does not announce its progress. It grows slowly in the dark. When it finally pushes up, the emergence looks sudden. Yet the work took many patient hours. Grace works in a similar way. It plants. It waters. It waits. I invite a simple breathing sequence to close this section. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 8. Let each exhale be a soft letting go. As you breathe, imagine the faithfulness I read of moving like a slow hand across your back. It steadies. It does not probe. It rests. With the next exhale, imagine a circle of small lights around you. They are not bright. They are spaced and steady. Each light is a mercy, a comfort, a faithful return. The circle keeps the dark from feeling boundless. It means you are not left in an empty night. I speak now of the quiet courage that shows up when someone stays near. Courage is not always loud. It is often the willingness to keep watching at the bedside. It is the persistence of a friend who sits longer than expected. It is the patience of a heart that refuses to rush another's healing. If you are the one who keeps vigil tonight, know that your presence matters. Small acts of staying are deep mercy. They make space for slow recovery. Even if words fail, the act of not leaving becomes a prayer in practice. I read a closing verse that has comforted people for generations. It says that steadfast love renews itself. It names an assurance without heavy argument. I let the words fall easily. They are not meant to be studied now. They are meant to rest on the ribs like a warm cloth. Before I lower my voice, I offer a short blessing. May the mercies you need arrive in small, faithful ways. May morning bring a quiet renewing. May presence surround you like a gentle room. May the breath you keep be steady and kind. Slowly I close the book. Mindful of the hush, the lamp stays low. The room keeps its steady breath. If sleep comes, fall without apology. If wakefulness remains, rest gently in the rhythm you now hold. I will read again soon. For now, let the image of dew, lanterns, and a steady shore stay with you. Let mercy do its quiet work. I sit very still and let the quiet hold us. The lamp casts a low circle. My voice is soft. Tonight I read a line that asks a gentle thing. It asks us not to carry the anxious knot alone. It asks us to turn our questions, our small frets, and our deep cares toward a steady presence. The words I read are plain. They ask only that we bring what we have in prayer, and with a simple thankfulness, in return, a peace is promised. That peace is like a guard at the gate of the heart. It keeps watch, so the mind can rest. We begin together. Breathe in slowly. Let the ribs fill like a slowly opening fan. Breathe out softer and a little longer. The breath is our first honest offering. It is not a remedy. It is a small act that steadies the hands. Imagine a narrow path of stones leading to a low table. The table is set in a quiet garden beneath a small olive tree. The night air is cool and kind. The table does not demand anything. It holds space. At the foot of the table is a mat. The mat is where burdens may be set down. That mat is not judgmental. It only receives. Think of one thing you have carried today. Make it small if that helps. Name it in the mind with one word. Maybe worry. Maybe a person's voice that pricked the day. Maybe a loss that settles like sand. We do not need to examine it closely. We simply name it as we would name a pebble in our hand. With the next breath, picture placing that pebble on the mat. Feel the small weight shift from shoulder to the table. The action is not dramatic. It is simply setting something down. Watch the pebble rest. Notice that putting it down does not mean forgetting. It means you are choosing not to bear it alone for now. Bring another pebble if there is more to lay down. One at a time. No rush. Place them softly. We do this not with a sense of failure, but with a simple allowance that the heart was never meant to be the sole carrier. Now imagine a pair of hands joining yours at the edge of the table. They are steady hands. They do not take the pebbles away by force. They bend and rest beside them. The hands are a sign that the load can be shared. We offer the worries, the requests, the small pleadings of the heart in prayer. We add a quiet note of thanks for what was good today. Even if that goodness was small, as you breathe, let gratitude steady the offering. A single line of thanks softens the strain. Say, in your mind, one small thing that felt like a mercy today. Name it gently. It need not be clever. The naming itself is a practice of trust. With each exhale, picture the hands folding gently over the pebbles. A calm comes that is not abrupt. It is a slow settling like dusk, drawing its shawl across the garden. This calm is the peace I read about. It is not a loud change. It is a quiet guard that stands at the heart's door. Notice how the breath follows this image. Inhale with a sense of offering. Exhale with a sense of resting. The breath and the action belong together. Each out-breath places a pebble. Each in-breath receives the fact of being accompanied. I guide a short breathing rhythm here. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 2. Exhale 6 counts. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. With the first cycle, name one worry and place it on the mat in the garden. With the second cycle, name one small request and place it as well. With the third cycle, offer one simple word of thanks and let it rest among the pebbles. Do this slowly. The room is quiet. The lamp keeps its small circle. The olive leaves move against the dark with a soft rustle. We do not hurry. The practice is a small work of trust. It is not a checklist. It is a way to give the heart a place to rest. Now imagine the peace I read of moving like a gentle watchman. The watchman does not shout at shadows. He simply stands quietly, alert yet calm. He keeps the gate of the heart from becoming a battleground of relentless thought. The watchman's posture is steady. The mind's sharp edges feel less urgent under his care. If anxious thoughts rise, name them as travelers who pass by the garden gate. Let them go on their way. Do not force them. Do not court them. Watch them like clouds crossing a broad sky. Some clouds will linger. Others drift quickly. The watchman remains. The gate remains. There is a tenderness in saying our cares aloud in the heart, spoken in a low, private voice. They lose some of their power to frighten. Prayer, when it is simple and honest, becomes a small exchange what I carry, what is given back as steadiness. The Bible line I read suggests that presenting requests with thanksgiving invites a peace that is different from what the world offers. That peace is less an answer bank and more a sheltering presence. Imagine, for a moment, a small lamp placed by the mat. The lamp is not bright. It casts a soft ring of light. The pebbles cast miniature shadows. The lamp does not chase the dark away entirely. It makes enough room for rest. Rest can exist under such light. We stay here a little longer. Place any last pebble. Breathe slowly. Feel the shoulder shift. Notice the jaw soften. The hands may unclench. The weight you have carried becomes a shared thing. I do not promise that all worries will vanish. That would be too quick and too clean. I promise this when burdens are offered with trust and a thread of gratitude. A different kind of peace settles in. It stands guard in a way that helps the body let go. It keeps the mind from turning every small worry into a storm. As you continue to breathe, picture the hands closing lightly over the pebbles, as if in protective keeping. The hands do not hide them. They hold them, so they no longer press into the shoulders. The guard at the gate watches. The breath keeps its steady count. If sleep is near, allow it to arrive. Let the pebbles remain where they are. They will be held if wakefulness stays. Keep visiting the garden in the mind. Remember the path of stone. Remember the mat. Remember the watchman and the lamp. Practice placing one small pebble each time the night becomes heavy. I offer a short blessing now. May the burdens you carry find a place to rest. May the peace that guards the heart stand watch through the night. May small gratitude be a gentle key that opens the hand that holds on. May your breath become a quiet partnership with the sheltering presence you have invited. Before the reading parts, set one phrase to hold in the mind a single line like you are held. Repeat it once with a long exhale. Let it sit. Let the image of the garden and the mat remain like a soft map. You may return to it whenever the night presses. I close this moment with a slow breath. The lamp circle keeps its soft light. The hands at the table remain calm and steady. When you are ready, ease into sleep. If you wake, come back to the mat and place another pebble. The practice is patient. The peace that follows is patient. The promise of renewal waits in the morning. Quiet and ordinary, like a new cup of tea. I will read again soon. For now, rest in the steady company you have found. Let the watchman keep his place. Let the breath keep its gentle count. Lay the burdens down, and let the heart practice being light. I tell a story now about a close friend and the quiet work of forgiveness. The voice stays soft. The room listens. The story is simple and slow. Years ago, a rift opens between us. It is not explosive. It is a slow drift. Small hurts gather like crumbs on a table. They are easy to miss until the table is full. The distance is palpable. In the way calls go unanswered. Visits shorten. Sentences hang in midair. One evening, the ache in the chest feels heavier. Sleep is thin. I carry a weight I cannot name without flinching. The mind replays small slights. Memory arranges them into a neat pile. The pile feels heavier than it should. The heart contracts. A hand on the Bible becomes a refuge. The habit of reading before bed is steady. Words fall like small pebbles into still water. They ripple. And the surface calms. The practice gives permission to face what needs facing. Tonight, the reading points toward mercy. The lines are not an accusation. They are an invitation. An email arrives in the middle of the night. It is not long. It is not loud. The tone is quiet. The message says that the friend remembers many nights of kindness that outweigh the mistakes. The friend remembers warmth more than error. No long argument follows. The note is an opening rather than a demand. I breathe with the letter. Breath steadies the fingers. The chest makes room for both shame and relief. A simple prieurise. Not ornate. It asks for courage and for a heart that can receive grace. The prayer is a soft turning of the face. The next day, I go to the place where we first met. The walk is measured. The streets look familiar and forgiving. The air tastes like early autumn. There is a small ritual in this return. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. We do not begin by listing the past. We sit with a cup of tea between us. Steam rises in a steady column. Hands hold the cup in ways that say, I am here. Eyes meet for a moment and then look away. Silence is not empty. It is a shared room where what is tender can be placed. Forgiveness arrives not in a flourish but in a slowing. It looks like two people allowing themselves to be ordinary near each other. The friend listens with a softness that is almost physical. No finger points. No ledger opens. The weight is simply eased a fraction. It is enough for the chest to unclench. I speak, but not with a speech. The words are small admissions. They are not a defense. They are a letting down of arms. The friend answers with a look that says reconciling is possible. A hand reaches across the table and rests there like a small bridge. There is a moment when the Bible comes into the room again. I read a few short lines aloud, slow enough for the breath to follow. The lines are about mercy and about bearing one another's burdens. The reading is not an argument. It is a framing. It holds both shame and forgiveness in the same tender light. After the reading, a short prayer falls naturally. The prayer thanks rather than measures. It is an honest listing of gratitude for presence, for a memory of laughter, for new space to walk together. Gratitude reshapes the conversation. It does not erase the wound, but it gives a different way to touch it. Forgiveness is not a single act. It is a series of small returns. The friend and I find new rhythms. We visit on ordinary afternoons. We share meals that have no special menu. The habit of being present reforms like muscle memory. It is not dramatic. It is persistent and kind. It seems old sensitivities rise again. A careless word. A forgotten appointment. When they do, a calm practice helps. A breath is taken. A short prayer is offered. Gratitude is named for a small mercy of the day. The tiny pattern prevents old fractures from widening. The repair is slow but steady. The memory of that reconciliation becomes a map. It shows how mercy can be practical. It is not simply an abstract idea. It is hands that stay. It is a lamp left lit in a doorway. It is a loaf shared when appetite is thin. Those ordinary acts shape the way forgiveness lives. This story does not claim perfection. Both of us remain flawed. Old tendencies return, like winter winds. Yet the relationship grows a new tolerance for human clumsiness. The friend forgives without erasing. I receive without confusion. We learn a different grammar of relating. It speaks less in accusations and more in offers of presence. Prayer threads through this story from the beginning. It is not a formula. It is a steady practice that grounds the heart. I teach a short way to pray. In nights like this, offer what is heavy. Offer what is grateful. Ask for the courage to stay. Prayer becomes a small ritual at the edge of difficulty. It keeps the mind from circling back into shame. Gratitude proves to be an ally. Naming one or two mercies each day makes the mind widen. It allows space for forgiveness to breathe. Gratitude does not deny the pain. It places the pain within a broader landscape. Unhard nights. Listing small mercies is a candle that upholds hope. Through the months, the friend's forgiveness becomes a living lesson. It shows me how God's peace can guard the heart and mind. The peace is not a blanketing numbness. It is a steady presence that watches over restless thoughts. When anxiety rises, A remembered hand on the table steadies the pulse. The mind returns to the practice of prayer and gratitude. I continue to read the Bible aloud at the end of days. The voice is still gentle. The passages I choose encourage mercy and patience. The reading is a daily folding of small hope into habit. It is not a cure. It is a continual reminder that restoration is possible. Sometimes I wake in the night and pray for the friend. The prayer is simple. It is a freed breath. It brings no dramatic answer. It brings calm. That calm feels like a guard at the gate of the heart. As a verse promises, the mind rests easier when it knows the night holds care and not accusation. If you hold a similar hurt, know that forgiveness can arrive without spectacle. It can be modest and true. It can begin with a single step, an honest admission, a cup of tea, a short reading. It can unfold like dawn. It may take time. It may need repeated small acts. Yet it remains possible. I encourage the power of prayer in these moments. Pray simply and regularly. Offer gratitude even for the tiniest kindness. Those two habits shape the heart to receive and to give mercy. They keep the mind from wandering into anxious loops. They invite peace that acts as a guard, soft and watchful. The story of my friend's forgiveness ends not with a triumphant crescendo, but with steady continuation. Days pass. Laughter returns in small fits. We slip into the familiar rhythms of friendship. The edges are not erased. They are softened by ongoing presence. Before sleep, I read a few lines that speak of peace, guarding hearts and minds. I speak them with a voice that rests in the room. The words are slow. The air feels lighter. The heart is allowed to release a little more of the day. Tonight, take a breath and name one small mercy from your day. Offer a short prayer of thanks. If a relationship needs mending, consider a tiny step toward presence. A simple offering can begin a new pattern. Forgiveness often starts in the ordinary. I close this part with a gentle blessing. May mercy come to you in humble ways. May prayer and gratitude steady your nights. May God's peace keep watch over your heart and mind. Sleep now, held and known. The voice grows softer. The room keeps its quiet. The story rests with a purposeful calm. I hold the book as the room settles deeper. The lamp throws a softer circle now. I speak slowly and let my words sit. Tonight, I choose a line that asks something simple and hard. It asks us to bear with one another. It asks us to forgive as we have been forgiven. I do not lecture. I read as one who keeps a bedside watch. The friend who learned to forgive comes to mind again. The path back to one another was slow. Forgiveness was not a single moment. It was a string of small decisions. Each choice was a quiet act. Each act bent the heart a degree. Grace worked in those small turns. I picture an old wooden bench beneath a porch. We sit there one evening when the air is close. The friend brings a small stone in a pocket. The stone is smooth from many hands. It bears a word in the mind more than on its surface. The stone means a hurt that still sits like a knot. The act is to hold it, to name it quietly, and then to place it on the bench between us. The placement is a kind of offering. Forgiveness in the passage I read does not remove memory. It does not demand forgetting. It asks for bearing. It says to carry one another gently when wounds reopen. To bear with another is to accept that the other will sometimes falter. It is to choose presence over ledger keeping. It is a practice of staying. I watch the friend learn this. The first attempts feel cautious. The voice in the head argues reasons to hold on. Old hurts feel like evidence. I remind the friend, gently, that grace appears not by erasing the past, but by changing how the past is carried. We practice that change with small rituals. One ritual is a brief prayer at the bedside. It asks for a softening where hardness sits. The prayer is not long. It does not demand dramatic feeling. It asks for a willingness to try again. Saying the prayer aloud keeps the throat from swallowing pain. The act of speaking, it gives a place for mercy to land. Another practice is a short list of mercies each evening. The friend writes 3 things that went well. These are ordinary things. A neighbor's smile, a cup of tea that tasted right, a shelf put in place. Listing small mercies trains the eye to see that life is not only brokenness. Gratitude and forgiveness grow side by side. They help each other breathe. Forgiving as the Lord forgave means accepting the same kindness that once steadied the heart. The phrase is heavy in meaning, but light in practice. It asks for the same patience that was offered, not for equal faults to be measured. A simple image helps mercy given earlier like a warm cloth on a forehead. That cloth was offered when fear was raw. Offering a similar cloth now is not a repayment. It is an echo of kindness that reshapes the room. There is a night when the friend receives a hard message. Old words come back again. The chest tightens. I sit with a book open and read a few lines that speak of patience. They are not commands. They are invitations to breathe and to make room. The friend listens and lets out a breath that is almost a laugh at the sound of its own relief. The laugh is small. It is real. Forgiveness needs that small laugh. It needs room to be imperfect. Often the first forgiving is clumsy. It sounds like grace, but feels like a test. We practice not polishing the act. We simply practice repeating it. Each repetition is a tiny repair. I tell of one morning when the friend forgives herself. The act looks like folding a letter into an envelope and then leaving it on a table in the sun. The envelope contains the tendency to replay blame. It contains the voice that sharpens the memory of error. Leaving it in the sun is not a dismissal. It is a choice to no longer carry that story in the pocket. The sun does the slow work. The letter fades enough to be handled differently. Healing through God's grace does not avoid the hard work. It gives company through the work. Grace is not only the balm, it is also the steady companion who keeps watch while the heart learns to let go. The presence of that companion is the most ordinary and the most powerful thing. It does not hurry the heart. It simply keeps its place. There is a small test in the months after reconciliation. A mutual friend repeats a painful rumor. Old edges prick. The friend's immediate instinct is to withdraw. We pause first. We breathe. We name the sting without making it the whole story. The holding practice helps. It keeps the reaction smaller than it otherwise could be. Forgiveness does not mean naivety. It means restraint. It means choosing not to strike back because the way of return is gentler. Bearing with one another also looks like insisting on presence. Some nights are heavy and words feel foolish. Showing up with a cup of tea and a lamp stays valuable. The lamp is a low light. It does not erase sorrow. It makes sitting with sorrow possible. Staying becomes an act of forgiveness in practice. It says, I will be here even when you are small and cross and angry. I will be here when you forget to say thank you. I will be here when you are generous beyond reason. I remember a day when the friend weeps in the kitchen. The stain on the counter is not removed. The tears arrive sudden and quiet. Hands reach for a towel. The towel is not used to fix the spilled water, so much as to make room for the person to be human. A towel. A cup. A presence these ordinary objects become the instruments of grace. We also learn to ask for forgiveness. Asking is a humble skill. It admits fallibility. It does not demand immediate absolution. It is an offering of repair. The friend learns to say a short sentence that does not beg, but simply states regret and a wish to mend. Saying it softly does not guarantee the other's acceptance. It frees the speaker from carrying unspoken guilt. That act matters. Prayer threads through every step. Frequent. Simple prayers keep the heart aligned with the steady presence I read about. Prayers that offer both gratitude and petition create a balance. We ask for help to forgive. We give thanks for the chance to try. The prayer life does not make forgiveness a duty. It makes forgiveness a posture. There are slow mornings when the friend notices an easing. The shoulders do not lift as quickly at the memory of the rift. Laughter returns in small pieces during the day. Shared silence at a table becomes less fraught. The old habits of distance soften into new habits of closeness. This slow shifting is the work of grace in time. I teach that forgiveness has seasons. Sometimes the heart forgives and then needs time to trust again. Other times, trust returns quickly. Both rhythms belong. The main thing is persistence. Keep practicing the small acts, a prayer, a kind phrase, an offered tea, a kept appointment. These are stitches in a long mending. There is also a boundary to healthy forgiveness. Bearing with someone does not mean allowing harm to continue. The friend learns to forgive and to say no to things that wound persistently. Forgiveness and wisdom can live together. Mercy does not equal exposure to abuse. The discernment is a quiet strength. It protects the abilities to forgive and to be forgiven. I read a brief passage that urges us to hold fast to compassion. The words are simple and slow. They remind that forgiving is not forgetting, but reholding the person in a new way. The new hold has room for fragility, for limits, for repair. At night I close the book and sit a while. The room keeps its soft breath. I offer a short invitation. If there is a rift that still holds your heart, bring it to the bedside. Name one small way to begin mending. Maybe a short note. Maybe a quiet visit. Maybe a daily prayer for softened memory. Begin with a tiny habit. Habits become the architecture of healing. Before sleep, practice a small exercise. Take one breath and name the hurt. Take another breath and offer it up as something you will put down for a while. Take a third breath and repeat a short phrase that anchors you. I will try again. Say it without force. Let it settle. I finish with a blessing that is calm and deliberate. May patience be given where anger sits. May mercy move slowly and steadily through your days. May grace be your companion as you learn to bear and to forgive. May morning bring small proofs of healing. The lamp remains low. The book rests closed on my knee. The quiet holds. Sleep, if it comes, will find a heart that has practiced letting go. If wakefulness remains, return to the lamp and the small exercises. Keep the friend's image in mind, a person who learned, day by day, to carry less weight and to give more room. The story rests here with purpose. Tonight, try one small step toward forgiveness. The heart learns in tiny measures. Grace meets it there. I sit with the lamp low and the book open. The hush holds us. Tonight I turn to a quiet corner of the heart. I speak of forgiveness. I speak of the small, inward work that follows the words we hear in Scripture. I do not press doctrine. I offer a path for the weary to walk toward rest. Breathe once and notice the chest. Let the breath be slow. The lamp at my side throws a soft pool of light. Imagine that light resting where the heart keeps its weight. This is a place for gentle work. There is no hurry. I read a line from the Bible slowly and plainly, a bit like a hand extended across the night. Forgive one another. As God has forgiven you, I let the words fall like a soft step. They are not a demand. They are an invitation. Hear them as a bedside reach rather than a task list. Bring to mind one person you have held at a distance. The person may be near or far. Their face may be clear or blurred at the edges. Let the image be simple. You do not have to rehearse every detail. Name them in a single short phrase in the mind. Say their name inwardly, or the word their face suggests. Notice what happens in the body when that name or image appears. Maybe the throat tightens. Maybe the stomach turns. Maybe the shoulders lift a little. Do not judge these sensations. Name them as gently as you would name a weather change. Tiredness, tightness, a small ache. Acknowledge what is present. Picture a small object to hold the weight of the hurt. It might be a smooth stone, a folded note, a leaf. The shape is yours to choose in the quiet. Lay the image of the hurt into the object. Let the stone take the sharp parts. Let the note hold the words you did not say. Let the leaf carry the small, persistent grief. Now imagine a river nearby. The water moves slowly, steady and calm. Carry the object to the river. You do not fling it in recklessly. You do not pretend it disappears at once. You place it on the bank and watch the current take some of its weight. The object does not vanish from memory. It changes position. The burden shifts. As you watch the water, breathe in slowly. With the out-breath, say to yourself this quiet phrase as God has forgiven me. The phrase is short. It is not a lecture. It is a reminder that mercy has already touched the life you carry. Say it without judging whether it is deserved. Let the line settle like a small blanket over the chest. Remember, that forgiving another is not the same as excusing harm. Forgiveness does not ask you to deny what is true. It simply frees you from carrying the role of judge alone. It moves a weight from the shoulders to a wider place. It allows the body to rest even while repair continues elsewhere. Think also of forgiving yourself. Often the smallest injuries are the ones we keep pressing. Picture the same object you used at the river. This time tuck your own name inside. Let the stone or note hold your clumsy choices, your missed chances, your ways of saying too little or too much. Bring that object to the water as well. Place it beside the others. Let the river teach the heart its slow pattern of release. If turning toward a person or toward yourself feels too raw, begin with a smaller image. Imagine a small light on a windowsill. The light is steady. Offer to that light a single word piece. Mercy. Let go. Repeat the word gently with the breath. The repetition is not magic. It is a way to let something stable enter the night where thoughts whirl. Sometimes practical steps help the inner work. Consider one small act you could do in daylight to mark the intention to forgive. A brief note that says, "I am thinking of you," with a calm heart. A short text that sets a boundary kindly. A small gift left without pretense. None of these require theatrical apology or immediate reconciliation. They are tiny motions that open a door without forcing an answer. If reconciling with someone is unsafe or unwise, the inward step still matters. You can practice forgiveness privately. The act need not lead to renewed closeness. It simply releases your habit of carrying the injury inside the ribs. Mercy can be offered without changing who is permitted in your life. I invite a short breathing practice now. Place one hand lightly on the chest and the other on the belly. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Before each out-breath, name one small thing you will offer up a name. A single regret. A single complaint. Place it gently into the river you have imagined. Do this for 3 cycles. Each out-breath loosens the grip a fraction. As you do this, remember the line, I read, "Forgive one another." As God has forgiven you, let the rhythm of the breath echo that offer. Notice how the body responds when mercy becomes a deliberate act rather than a forced command. The shoulders soften. The jaw eases. The chest allows a little more space for rest. There will be days when forgiveness feels like a thin garment. Put it on anyway. Wear it in small moments. Offer a brief prayer for courage to take one tiny step. A note, a call, a boundary, a memory of kindness. These small steps do not require perfection. They are the steady building of a new habit. If resentment returns, greet it with the same care you used at first. Name it without shame. Place that feeling in the object again. Bring it to the river. You do this not to become hard on yourself, but to train a muscle. The muscle is grace. It learns by repeated, gentle action. Forgiveness given does not always receive a mirror in return. Sometimes the other person does not reciprocate. That is part of what makes forgiveness brave and ordinary. You do not forgive to force someone else to change. You forgive to free your own heart, to sleep again. The Bible's call is not transactional. It is restorative for the one who offers the mercy as much as for the one who receives it. I read another short line now. Quietly. It asks us to be kind and tender-hearted toward one another. I let the words rest. They are a simple rule of living together in this fragile world. Kindness softens the places where forgiveness first begins. Tender-heartedness remembers our own failings and meets others where they are. Reflect on one small kindness you once received that changed a hard day into something softer. Keep that memory as proof that mercy can be real. Let it stand beside the objects of the river. Let it remind the heart that acts of kindness often start small and grow. If you feel ready, imagine reaching across the river and taking back one small thing that used to belong to you, a memory of laughter, a tiny joy, the name of a day when you felt loved. Draw it close. Let it warm the place inside where cold used to sit. Forgiveness and receiving mercy prepare the ground for such returns. A practical habit helps keep this work alive. Each evening name aloud or in the quiet of the mind one person you will try to forgive a little more tomorrow. Keep the naming brief. Say their name and then a single small intention. The act is not dramatic. It is a whisper to guide the next day. Prayer may be the simplest work of all in this practice. Speak to God as you would to a steady friend. Offer the burdens. Ask for the courage to let go of what you carry too long. Give thanks for the mercies already received. Prayer does not always change the situation immediately, but it shifts the heart's posture. I offer a short blessing now. May the mercy you need come gently. May the courage to forgive grow like a small root beneath the soil. May the peace that follows be steady enough to hold you through the night. May the breath you keep be a quiet guide as you practice this work. Place the hands softly where they feel natural. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out long and calm. If sleep comes now, allow it without apology. If wakefulness remains, return to the river image. Visit the mat. Set down another stone. Repeat the short phrase, as God has forgiven me. Let the phrase be a lantern that moves you forward one small step at a time. I close this part with a final invitation. Tomorrow, when a small chance appears, offer a tiny act of mercy. It need not be noticed. It need not be rewarded. Mercy grows in hidden places and becomes visible over time. Rest now. The lamp keeps its soft glow. The book rests folded. The night keeps its steady watch. I sit with the lamp low and the page open. The room keeps its slow breathing. I speak softly, as if leaning close to a friend who cannot lift their head. Tonight I lean on a single promise. The promise is not a lecture. It is a steady hand in the dark. I read words that say God comes near when the heart is afraid. I do not recite them like a test. I let them fall like a warm cloth. The meaning is plain. You are not abandoned. You are not expected to carry every weight alone. Strength comes to the weary in a way that does not shame them for being tired. I picture a wide, patient hand, palm up and level with the chest. The hand does not grasp. It supports. It fits under the ribs like a shelf made just for you. You do not step onto the hand to prove your worth. You rest on it because it is offered. The image is small. It holds a lot. Fear is a real thing. It sits like a cold along the spine. Worry has a voice that repeats itself. Grudges take up room where tenderness could grow. I ask you now to notice one fear that comes easiest to the surface at night. Name it in the mind with a single word. Name the grudge that sits like a stone. Say them inwardly. No need to explain. As you breathe, picture the patient hand moving up a little closer. It does not take anything from you by force. It only offers steadiness. On the out-breath, imagine laying that fear into the palm. Lay the grudge there too. The action is quiet. It is not a theatrical letting go. It is a small placement. The hand does not demand change. It simply receives. I remind myself of nights when my own chest felt narrow. Holding anger felt safer than being open. Forgiveness seemed like giving away armor. Yet mercy changed the posture slowly. Mercy is not a command that snaps the heart into shape. Mercy is a patient presence that waits until a shoulder drops and the jaw loosens. The change is small at first. It grows. Think of God's promise as a scaffold around a broken bridge. You still have pieces missing. The bridge does not pretend the gap was never there. It only gives a structure to cross. Strength arrives not as a sudden disappearance of trouble, but as a framework that makes steps possible again. I like that image to rest beside the lamp. If the thought of forgiving feels dangerous, begin with one small, safe act. I suggest a tiny ritual. Take a pencil and a small slip of paper. Write one word, only the name of the hurt you keep. Fold the paper once. Place it on your bedside table or under a small stone. That action is a transfer. It is not a solution. It is permission to stop carrying the scrap like a hidden ember. Each night afterward, light a small practice of saying, slowly, that God strengthens and helps. I do not ask you to judge the heart. I ask only that you repeat the thought like a soft bell, God is with me. God upholds me. Say it as a breath. Let the words move from thought to body. Let them become small anchors. I often imagine being upheld by a hand that is both strong and gentle. Strength without gentleness can bruise. Gentleness without strength cannot hold. This hand has both. It supports enough to walk again. It presses with firm care. It steadies the knees. It steadies the mind. If there is a person you cannot forgive yet, that is okay. Forgiveness is not a demand to forget. It is not a ticket that erases memory. It is a way to stop letting the memory shape every response. I encourage a private step. Picture the person for a moment, and then picture your hands taking the weight of that memory and setting it on the offered palm. Your hands do not give up the truth of what happened. They simply move the way you bear it. I think of weak things that become strong when held. A reed, alone in wind, bends and breaks. A reed shared in a bundle can withstand a storm. To forgive does not make the hurt vanish. It bundles the hurt into something that can be carried without snapping. The bundle is not pretty at first. It becomes more bearable. Breathe with me now. Inhale slowly. Let the ribs open. Hold for a moment. Exhale long and imagine placing one small resentment into the palm of that patient hand. Repeat 2 more times. Each out-breath is an offering. Each offering is allowed to be clumsy. Allow the body to learn what the heart will later understand more deeply. I remind myself, and you, that being upheld does not mean instant courage. The promise says, help comes. Strength arrives step by step. Sometimes strength looks like a single extra minute of quiet. Sometimes it is simply a longer morning after a short night. Do not measure progress as if it must be a march. Measure it by smaller movements, a longer breath. A Soothe, a willingness to try again. Mercy also invites practical mercy. If a grudge nests in memory, give it a boundary. Set a time to speak a short sentence, aloud or in prayer. Tell the one you trust how heavy the thought is. Practice a phrase of release that feels honest. I will try to let this press on my shoulders less today. The phrase is not magic. It is a chosen step. I speak of release, not as a command, but as a gift. There is no perfection required. The act of trying matters. The promise that God upholds is not contingent on flawless effort. It holds the imperfect attempt itself. That fact eases the pressure most. There are nights when courage looks like staying in the room with one's own shame or anger, allowing it to be seen rather than denied. The promise says, you are not alone in that seeing. A steady hand is under you. There is a support that keeps the weight from flattening the spirit. The support invites rest, even in the middle of unquiet things. If fear wakes you in the small hours, name it without exaggeration. Give it a small, calm phrase, and then place it into the offered palm in the mind. Repeat the simple promise that strength comes. Let that promise be a lantern you follow, not a burden you must carry. I know the temptation to hold on to grudges because they feel like proof of care, yet wounds and resentments tire the keeper. Mercy asks nothing from the person who gives it but presence. Practice, present acts of mercy for yourself. Keep a clean cup of water by the bedside. Take a small walk during daylight. Speak one kind sentence to your own tired heart. I end this part with a tiny practice to take into sleep. Lay one hand on the chest and one on the belly. Breathe slowly and count inwardly. On each out-breath, say, gently and inwardly, I am held, I am held. Let the words be short. Let them land like soft stones. Repeat for 6 breaths. If sleep comes, welcome it as a piece of the promise made visible. If wakefulness stays, let these words be an island to return to. Keep the small slip of paper or the stone you placed on the table. Let it remind you each night that the offering was made. Let it remind you that strength is not your sole work. I offer a quiet blessing now. May the promise of being upheld rest beneath your ribs like a small shelf. May strength come in measured steps. May mercy teach you to release what keeps the chest tight. May rest arrive, patient and gentle. And may morning bring a little more steadiness for the day. I close the book slowly. The lamp holds its glow. My voice eases into the hush. Breathe once more with the phrase, I am held, I am held. Let the night do its work. I will read again when the hour returns. for now. Place your burdens down and rest on the hand that is offered. I sit very still and let the hush widen. The lamp at my side is a soft hush of light. Mi voice moves slowly. I offer an image now that asks little but can change how the body rests. I invite us to picture wide arms. They are not a threat. They are not a law. They are a shelter. Imagine them opening like a doorway. The arms are warm. They meet the shoulders without force. They make room. We begin with a breath. Inhale slowly. Feel the ribs expand. Exhale and imagine the shoulders easing away from the ears. Breathe like that twice more. Each breath is its own small permission to soften. As the breath calms, let the picture come clearer. See arms that widen from a place of steady calm. They are strong enough to hold any shape. They are gentle enough to let tears be. The hands at the ends are patient. They receive what is brought without counting mistakes. They keep, not judge. I do not ask for drama. The image is ordinary. Think of arms that take a small, heavy bundle and set it gently down. The bundle may be grief, a worry, a sharp memory, a small shame. Place one thing at a time into those hands. The action is simple. It is the practice of allowing help. We practice together now. Slowly. Inhale. Picture the arms moving closer. Exhale. Lay down one thing. It may have a name. It may only have a feeling. Place it into the palms. Breathe. Allow the hands to hold it. Feel the weight change. The spine finds a little more length. The jaw eases. A tiny place behind the sternum feels less crowded. Notice that nothing magical happens. The load does not vanish. It changes location. That change makes space for rest. I read words that point to this kind of nearness. They speak of a presence that surrounds and supports. I do not quote them now. I let their sense be a quiet map. The map shows a route where support meets the body. It guides the hands that place burdens down. Imagine now that the arms cradle not only burdens but a smaller, older self. Picture the child who learned to be strong before the time was right. That child sits in the crook of the elbow, safe and unashamed. The arms rock very gently. The rocking is small. It moves like a slow tide. Comfort often arrives like that. It is not noise. It is steady motion. When the chest tightens, place a hand there. Then imagine the other hand resting on the arm that holds. Let the hands be a small triangle of solace. This tiny posture tells the nervous system it can slow. The motion is simple and effective. It does not require words. I speak now of a practice that fits this imagery. Each night, before sleep, I ask two small actions. First, name one thing to place in the arms. Make it small. A single word is enough. Second, imagine the palms accepting it and closing around it like a gentle cup. Do this for 5 slow breaths. Inhale, lay down, exhale, breathe. Each small act trains the muscle of release. Sometimes the arms feel like a wrap of branches in a quiet wood. The branches hold without rigidity. They form a cradle of living wood. Leaves whisper. The cradle moves with wind. and does not break. When I picture support in that way, I remember that strength can be alive. It bends and returns. It is present and adaptive. This idea can be helpful when the heart fears permanence of pain. Other nights, the arms feel like a cloak of stars. This image is wide and immaterial. The stars do not press. They hold with a cool, steady glow. Imagine lying beneath that cloak. The smallness of the world shrinks for a moment. The vastness above becomes a quiet blanket. Both images are true to this kind of support, close and expansive at once. If worry insists on answering, do a small, practical thing. Take one breath and name the worry. Put it in one hand. Make the other hand the image of the supporting arms. Place the worry into that imagined palm and allow the exhale to be a setting down. The mind may protest. Lead it. Return gently to the arms. Prayer can be a simple bridge here. I offer a short line in my mind as I place things down. Hold this. I say inwardly, the words are not a bargain. They are a tiny conversation. Saying them helps the act feel real. It ties the imagination to the body. It ties the body to the steady presence I have read about. Notice small changes as you practice. Maybe the breath grows longer. Maybe the face relaxes. Maybe the feet stop the restless pacing they do at night. These are small signs, but they are meaningful. They tell the nervous system that help has a form and can be trusted. There are nights where nothing seems to help. The arms may feel too distant. On those nights, begin even smaller. Imagine only the tips of the fingers. Picture them touching just the very edge of a burden. That tiny touch is enough to begin the move toward being held. Start there. Small motions lead to larger trust. I have watched this image work within rooms I sit in. A friend presses a hand to their chest and breathes. They place an imagined stone in the palm of support. In time, they smile a hair's breadth. The change is not dramatic. It is steady. It feels like walking on a flat place after a steep climb. Support sometimes looks like someone carrying a lantern beside a wide path. The lantern moves with the steps. Its light does not scorch the dark. It simply makes walking safer. The arms I describe do the same. They do not banish the night. They make room inside it, where rest can happen. If the arms feel like invitation rather than demand, that is intentional. Mercy that presses hard often tightens the chest. A soft hand invites. It places rather than pulls. It waits rather than forces. Rest comes more easily when help arrives in patient gestures. I invite a brief breathing rhythm to anchor this image. Inhale 4. Pause 2. Exhale 6. On each out-breath, place one small thing into the imagined arms. Use 3 cycles. Each setting down is a small ritual. Rituals train the body to trust what the mind may doubt. There is an important truth in this imagery. Being held does not remove responsibility. It changes how responsibility is carried. When a burden sits in open palms, it is easier to see what to do next. The head thinks clearer. The heart rests enough to try another small step. Support is an enabler, not an excuse. For those who keep watch in the night for others, the arms can be a mutual image. Imagine placing your worry into hands that are wide, and then sitting beside the held bundle. Stay a while. Let the presence be both for the watched and the watcher. Companionable support heals in both directions. I read passages that speak of a nearness that stays during fear. They speak of an embrace that is quiet and steady. I let those words fall into the room like rain. They do not fix everything. They simply make softer the ground beneath our feet. Before I close this part, pick one small thing to set in the arms tonight. Choose something you can name and release for a while. Place it gently. Breathe slowly. Allow the arms to hold what you need them to hold. I end with a short blessing, offered in the quiet between breaths. May the arms you imagine be real in the ways that matter. May they hold the weight when the night is heavy. May their steadiness give you a place to lay down burdens, if only for an hour. May sleep find you restful enough to begin again. I close the book softly. The lamp keeps its faint circle. The voice lowers like a hand returning to its place. Rest. Now, the arms remain. The next section will come when the hour returns. For now, breathe. Lay down one small thing and let the hold be enough. I lower my voice a little more. The room keeps its hush. My hand rests on the book, but the words I carry are lighter. Now, I speak slowly so the heart can follow. I tell you that Jesus leaves a peace with us. It is not the kind the world offers. It is steadier. It does not depend on outcomes. It steadies the inside when outside shakes. I do not quote a line to test memory. I only let the meaning sit beside us like a warm cloth. Picture a small lake at dusk. The surface is quietly glassed. Wind brushes the far reeds, but the center stays calm. Storms may pass over the hills. The lake keeps a place of still water. That still place is like the peace I speak of. It does not pretend the weather is always fair. It holds a quiet that helps the body unwind. Breathe with me now. Inhale slowly. Count to 4 in the hush. Feel the ribs rise. Hold for a small count. Exhale longer. Let the breath carry a little of the day away. Do this twice more. Each out-breath is a soft unloading. The breath and the peace move together. Imagine a pair of hands offered at the bedside. They are steady and unhurried. Place one small thing into them. It may be a worry, a name, a tight memory. Do not try to change it. Set it down. Feel the shoulders loosen an inch. The hands do not take everything at once. They take what you give. They hold without tallying or pressing. Let that be enough. The peace I name is gentle company. It soothes the quick pulse. It smooths the jagged edges of thought. It is a promise that someone stays near when the mind rehearses worst-case scenes. Bring the breath back to the body. Return the images to the bedside hands, and let silence be the workhorse. I offer an affirmation now. Keep it short. Speak it inwardly. Let each phrase match an out-breath. The words are meant to be felt, not argued. First, I am held. Say it once, and let the bones listen. Let the knotted shoulders sleep 10. Second, I am given peace. Breathe it out slowly. Picture the lantern on the bedside table widening its glow. The light does not force the dark away. It simply makes a small room where rest can happen. Third, I am forgiven. Keep this thought soft. It is not a badge of worthiness. It is a quiet fact to rest upon. Let it cushion the places that feel sharp. Fourth, I am not alone. Feel how the chest can ease at that small sentence. Presence is a steadying thing. It does not hurry a wound. It keeps vigil. Fifth, I am allowed to rest. Say it as permission. Bedtime is not a test. It is a safe shore for the tired to land on. Repeat these 5 phrases with me. Inhale. On the out-breath, speak the first phrase with the mind. Pause. Breathe. Out-breath. The second phrase, move through each slowly. Take as many cycles as you need. These lines are a small law of habit. Repetition trains the body to trust the words. If the mind protests, do not strain to silence it. Imagine the protests as wind over the lake. They pass. Do the breathing and return the phrases. Trust the rhythm of the breath more than the voice of worry. The breath will outlast the fear. I paint another image for the ear. Think of a small bedside lamp. Its light is measured. It sits beside a cup of water and an open book. The lamp does not shout into the night. It keeps a circle of warmth. Place one of your affirmations inside that light. Let it glow there. If sleep comes, that light accompanies the dream. If wakefulness stays, the lamp makes the dark less vast. A tiny practice helps when thoughts loop. Keep a short phrase on the tongue of the mind. For example, peace be my keeping. Repeat it once with a long exhale. Do not aim to finish all doubts. Aim only to steady the next minute. This is change by the inch. Inch by inch the heart learns a new posture. I do not ask for a grand emotion. Smallness suits the night. Small acts are mighty in steady hands. A single breath, repeated, becomes a road that leads home. Let each out-breath be a small footstep toward rest. If you keep vigil for another, borrow this voice. Speak the affirmations softly in your mind for them. Sit near without solving. Hold your presence like a lamp. Offer a hand that does not press. Often, the gentleness of another lets sleep come more easily than any argument. There will be hours when the chest still tightens. Return the practice. Lay a hand over the sternum. Breathe in slowly. On the out-breath, repeat one short line aloud. Inwardly I am held. Let the sound of that inward phrase be a small river smoothing stones. Do this 3 times. The body will remember the cadence and follow. I remind you again of mercy in ordinary things. A cup of tea. A warm towel. A note left on a pillow. These small mercies shape the night. They do not cure all. They make the night less raw. Keep a small mercy near your bed. Let it be a witness that grace is practical as well as sacred. Now a short blessing, quiet and simple. May the peace you need rest like a lamp by your side. May the hands you imagine hold the burdens you set down. May the breath you practice be a steady friend. May forgiveness travel slow and sure into the places that ache. Before this part closes, choose one affirmation to carry into sleep. Pick the sentence that feels truest and smallest. Repeat it once more with a long exhale. Feel it nestle like a small bird on the chest. Breathe. Let the words become a soft weight that steadies rather than presses. If sleep arrives, accept it without apology. Let the reading continue like a slow tide. If wakefulness remains, stay with the lamp and repeat the affirmation as often as needed. The promise of peace is not a single event. It is a practice. It returns when the night is long. I fold the page back gently. The lamp drops an inch of light. The voice softens to almost nothing. Rest now. I will read again in the next hour. For tonight, keep the affirmations near and let the peace I speak of soothe the small places that need gentleness. The room keeps its hush. The breath keeps its rhythm. Sleep, when it comes, will find you already cradled in a quiet mercy. I sit very still and let the room breathe with me. The lamp is low. The page lies open. Tonight, I invite one quiet task. We build a personal affirmation together. It will lean toward peace. It will be short. It will fit easily on the edge of sleep. First, take one slow breath. Feel the breath come in. Feel it leave. Let the next inhale be a little fuller. Let the exhale be a soft release. This rhythm is the steady measure of the work we do. An affirmation is a small sentence. It is a map for the mind. It speaks in the present. It names what we want to receive. It is not a demand. It is a doorway. I put my hand on the book. I choose a first simple line to guide us. I say it in my head before I share it. My voice stays low. The thought is plain. Rest in the peace that is given. I do not make the sentence long. I make it clear. Now, for a practice, I suggest 4 small steps. Each step is a short action that can be done tonight. Step 1. Name the truth you want to hold. Use one short phrase. Make it about receiving, not proving. Examples come to mind. Peace is here. I may rest. Mercy finds me. Keep the phrasing simple. Pick the one that feels easiest to say. Step 2. Make the sentence present tense. The mind listens to now. Say the affirmation as if it is true this moment. That tone trains the heart while the body unwinds. Step 3. Soften the verb. Choose verbs that invite rather than demand. Accept, rest, receive, let go. These words ease the body. They do not tighten it. Step 4. Anchor the sentence to the breath. Match each short phrase to an out-breath. The breath becomes the metronome. The affirmation becomes a lullaby for the mind. I will give several short examples. They are plain and slow. Use them if they fit, or use them to shape your own. I rest in God's peace. I receive mercy and calm. I am held and I am allowed to rest. Peace finds my heart as I breathe. I let go and I trust the night. Say one in your mind now. With a long, slow exhale, choose the line that does not feel too large. If none fits, make a tiny change. Replace God with presence. If that helps, the aim is comfort and truth, not cleverness. I model one aloud in my own quiet. I tell myself I rest in the steady presence that keeps watch. The sentence fits my chest like a soft fabric. I do not force belief. I let the rhythm of saying it be the first step toward trusting it. As you form your own sentence, keep 3 small rules in mind. They make the affirmation useful. Rule 1. Keep it brief. Short lines are easy to hold while drowsiness arrives. They fit on the edge of thought. Rule 2. Keep it true. Choose words you can say without arguing with yourself. If the heart protests, choose gentler terms. Rule 3. Keep it repeatable. The line should be something you can breathe with 10 times before sleep. If a hard thought interrupts, do not judge the interruption. Acknowledge it like a knock at the door, and then return to the affirmation. The practice is patient. Its power comes from gentle repetition, not force. Now I guide a small pattern. I invite you to make the affirmation, and then repeat it with me inside. Close the eyes if that feels right. Place a hand over the chest or the belly. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 1. Exhale, and say your line in the mind on the out-breath. Do this 5 times. Each repetition is small and steady. On the first round, speak the affirmation clearly. On the second, listen to how the words land. On the third, let the breath lengthen a touch. On the fourth, notice any softening in the shoulders. On the fifth, rest in the small space the sentence creates. If images come, let them be simple. A lamp, a warmtzap, a steady hand. They are companions to the sentence. They do not have to be dramatic. The ordinary images hold best. I share a quieter variation to try at the very edge of sleep. Use 2 short words rather than a whole sentence. Pair them with the exhale. For instance, held, rest, or peace, stay. Repeat them slowly with a long out-breath. 2 words can become a small anchor. The affirmation may change over nights. That is normal. Sometimes the season asks for rest. Other nights ask for courage. Let the sentence adapt. Keep it kind. Keep it short. I read a tiny line from the scriptures now as a soft frame. Not to argue, but to steady the heart. The line speaks of bringing cares and receiving rest. Hear it as a bedside touch. It encourages the act of setting things down. After the repetition practice, place the phrase quietly where it can be found again. Put it on a small card by the lamp, or write it in a line on a folded note. The physical object is a bookmark for the mind. It tells the body what to expect the next night. For those who like music, choose a soft sound to play it with, a slow rhythm, like a distant heartbeat. Pairs well. Keep the volume low. The audio becomes another layer of steadying. If sleep comes during the practice, accept it. Sleep is the practice's reward. The affirmation has done its work. If the mind stays awake, keep the phrase going softly. Repeat it as often as needed. Each repetition is a tiny stitch in a quiet pattern. There is also a small communal practice to try on nights when loneliness presses. Share an affirmation with a trusted voice before lights go out. A short text, a voice note, or a simple shared sentence can create a soft tether. The words travel and return as comfort. I end this part with an offer. Use one simple affirmation tonight. Make it present. Make it gentle. Breathe with it. Let the words find their quiet place under the ribs. Let them be a small, steady lamp. Before you step back, I speak a brief blessing over the sentence you choose. May the affirmation you form rest like a soft cloth upon the chest. May it slow the breath and steady the heart. May it be a small shelter in the night. May mercy and peace find you as you breathe. When the lamp almost fades and the room keeps its hush, bring the line into the hush one more time. Breathe. Place the words on the long out breath. Allow them to settle. In the next part, I will read a familiar verse and gently stress its invitation. The line comes from a short sentence that asks us to cast our cares. It is an easy next step from the affirmation. For now, keep the phrase you chose. Repeat it as you let the body soften. Rest in the peace you receive. I sit very still with the lamp low. The page rests open. The room keeps its slow breath. Tonight the thought I bring is simple and urgent. Give your anxieties away. Let them not stay folded like a heavy coat across the ribs. There is an old line I read from the Bible often because it meets the crowded mind. It asks that we cast our cares upon the one who cares for us. I do not explain it. I let it be an invitation. Hear it as a bedside hand rather than a demand. The sentence is not a test of faith. It is a small map for the heart. Imagine a porch at dusk. A satchel of small stones sits worn across the shoulder. Each stone bears a name. One is worry about tomorrow. One is a worn regret. One is a thin, persistent fear. The satchel is familiar. The body does not always notice how much it tilts until a hand lifts it away. Breathe with me now. Inhale slowly. Count to 4. Let the air settle in the belly. Hold just a moment. Exhale long. Picture the satchel loosen its strap by one finger's width. The act is not dramatic. It is a permission to shift. I read a short phrase aloud, softly, as if placing a lamp near a weary face. Lay your anxieties down. Trust the steady care that will not tire. The words move like warm cloth across a brow. They do not erase the ache. They give room for it to breathe. Take one worry in the mind. Make it small enough to hold with 2 fingers. Give it a single name. A single syllable might be enough. With the next out-breath, imagine placing that small thing into an open palm that is offered to you. The palm is steady. It does not scold. It simply receives. This is not a trick. It is a small practice. Repetition helps the body believe what the mind suspects, that burdens can be shared. The practice trains the nervous system to move weight, where weight can be held without strain. If the mind protests, if the voice says you must carry it, to prove something, answer with breath, rather than argument. Inhale quietly. Exhale, and place the thought on the offered palm in your imagination. Let the act be physical enough to feel. The shoulders will notice the change before the reasoning mind does. I speak of trust as an action, not a feeling alone. Trust appears in the simple choice to set an object down. It looks like hands releasing a rope. It looks like a child handing over a toy, because an older hand is ready to keep it. The act is brief, and the consequence is slow, a less clenched jaw, a calmer throat, a longer out-breath. Now, a short breathing practice. To make the giving practical, place one hand on the chest and one on the belly. Breathe in for 3 counts. Hold for 1. Breathe out for 6 counts. On each out-breath, name one small worry and place it into the imagined palm. Do this for 5 cycles. Keep the voice inside. Keep the motions gentle. Let the imagination be literal enough to move the body. I read another quiet line from Scripture. Plain and steady, the one who cares for you draws near. The phrase is not a promise of perfect ease. It promises presence. Presence is a kind of medicine that does not fix everything but reduces the fever of fear. Let the sound of that line be a soft tide. If sleep comes in the middle of this, accept it. Sleep is a form of trust. Lying down after the satchel is set aside is a small prayer enacted. If wakefulness lingers, return to the practice. Repeat a short phrase on the out-breath. I will lay this down. Let it be a simple anchor. There are nights when the anxieties are many, and naming them feels like opening a wound. In that case, offer a single breath instead of a list. Breathe in and think of carrying. Breathe out and imagine the satchel being taken gently. The single motion matters more than the thorough sorting. Mercy finds the attempted self pleasing. I invite a quiet observance of the hands. Watch how the palms change when weight is offered and received. They relax slightly. The tendons ease. Small physical signs mark a large interior movement. These are the proofs of trust, not dramatic conversions, but the softening of muscles that have held tight for too long. Now, we move into a deeper hush. I invite a few moments of silence, allowing scripture and breath to settle without commentary. This silence is not an absence to be feared. It is a room shaped by the words we have heard. The silence is an ally of rest. Close the eyes if that helps. Keep the hands where they feel most steady. Listen to the slow sounds in the room. The hum of the night is a gentle choir that supports the practice. In the silence, do not chase meaning. Let the words drip softly into the place that needs them. I will count a short span in my head and then step back into quiet. Give the silence space to gather the images of palms, satchels, and riverbanks. Let the river do its part. Let the satchel stay on the shore a little while. I count slowly and then remain still. 30 seconds of quiet follows here in the reading, long enough for breathing and settling. Allow the pause to be a small altar. In the hush, I offer this invitation again. Allow the image of kindness to be more real than the pressure of must. Let smallness rule the hour. A single lamp, a single palm. A single breath can shift the night's shape. If a thought breaks the silence, notice it without wrestling. Label it, gently worry. Planning, fear, and return to the quiet. Treat each thought like a leaf on a stream and watch it drift past. The goal is not to empty the mind instantly. The goal is to make the mind less authoritative, to let it stop being the only voice in the room. During this quiet time, I read one short passage softly, as a companion rather than an explanation. The lines speak of casting cares and trusting care in return. Hear them as I do not as a principle to master, but as a bedside hand extended in real time. When the silence has deepened enough to feel like a small room rather than a hallway, bring to mind one small kindness to remember. It can be a neighbor's knock, a warmtap, the sight of light through leaves. Make it vivid. Let it be the tiny candle you place on the table near the satchel. Goodness often returns to us in small measures. Let that be enough. As the quiet closes, return slowly to the breath. Take 3 fuller breaths. On each out-breath, imagine a single worry being offered into the palm once more. The repetition closes the ritual, so the body knows this was an act, not a fleeting thought. I will read a brief blessing to seal the practice. May the care you need hold your small burdens. May the satchel find a steady place on the shore. May an offered palm keep its grace through the night. May you sleep with the knowledge that you are not the sole keeper of weight. I tuck the book closed just enough to feel its presence at my side. The lamp remains low. The room keeps its steady hush. If sleep comes now, fall into it without apology. If wakefulness stays, linger in the quiet and return to the breath as often as needed. When the next part begins, I will continue with stillness and a gentle reading to carry us a little farther into rest. For now, remain where you are. Hold the image of the palm and the satchel a little longer. Let the giving be a small, repeated habit. Rest here. The night keeps its watch. I sit very still and let the hush deepen. The lamp is lower now. Its circle of light thins at the edges. My voice stays soft. I read slowly, not to teach, but to offer a steady companion for the night. The page rests open. I do not rush through it. Each sentence is given room. The pauses are as important as the words. They let sound fall into the body. They let the chest learn to slow. Tonight I choose a short passage that leans toward quiet trust. I do not speak it loudly. I let its sense wash the room like warm water. It reminds that care reaches near where fear waits. The thought is simple and clear. It asks nothing dramatic. It asks only that burdens be noticed and then offered up, one by one, into a hand that will keep them. Breathe with me once. Inhale slowly. Feel the ribs widen. Exhale long and gentle. Let the out-breath carry a small thing with it. Name it inwardly with one quiet word. Place that word on the soft surface of the exhale. Do this again. Each breath becomes a small ferry, crossing the distance between tension and rest. I invite a short practice now. Keep the hands where they feel most steadied. Place one hand over the heart and one where the belly rises. Let the touch be light. On each inhalation, notice the rising. On each exhalation, imagine a tiny parcel set on a table. Give the parcel no more than one word. The simple labeling makes the mind less clever at holding on. It becomes a practical act, rather than an argument. Listen as I read again. The lines speak of homecoming and welcome. They do not require a perfect answer. They allow the weary to enter. They hold out a simple image, a door opened, a seat kept warm, a lamp left on. Let that picture be a shelter for the next hour. Picture the lamp at the window of a small house. The light is not grand. It is enough. I tell a brief story from my own life to keep this hour human and gentle. Once, after many restless nights, I find myself walking slowly in a garden as dawn edges in. The air smells of damp earth and the first small flowers. There is no sudden cure in that walk. Only a lightness comes back by degrees. The steps are measured. The sky is patient. The practice of small rhythms changes the posture of the chest. It is the ordinary return that matters. The story is simple. It is meant to match the slow work of this night. Now, gather 3 gentle images from the evening. Choose 1 lamp, 1 cup, 1 small kindness. Keep them brief. See the lamp's glow. Feel the rim of the cup in the palm. Remember a kindness that did not demand anything in return. Place these images in a small pocket inside the mind. They become portable mercy. They travel with the body into sleep. There is also a practical suggestion that helps the sleep come easier. Keep a glass of water near the bed. A plain glass. Nothing ornate. If the throat tightens, a sip can change the chest's posture. Keep a small cloth folded beside it. Something that smells like home. Little objects tether the scattered mind. They are humble, but they work. If worry wakes in the night, return to the breath first. Use the method we practiced. Inhale long enough to notice the belly rise. Hold for a breath. Exhale and place a single worry into an imagined palm. Let the hand be steady and polite. The act is not to vanish the care instantly. It is to change who carries it. That shift alone eases the shoulders. I remind myself aloud, gently, that mercy is patient. It does not hurry a broken place. It returns to the bedside like a slow tide. When the mind insists on solving everything immediately, answer with patience rather than force. Offer a single small phrase inwardly. Let this be a place to rest. Repeat it once on the exhale. Do not argue with the mind. Let the breath do the listening. In the quiet, imagine a path that runs from tonight into tomorrow. The path is level and lined with low stones. Each stone is a tiny mercy. You do not have to run along the path to prove anything. Walk slowly. Step by step the stones add up. By morning the path seems longer, clearer, easier to follow. Hope often grows this way, small, cumulative, hardly noticed until light reveals it. There will be nights when the chest remains heavy. That is real. It is allowed. Do not use the quiet to scold what is tender. Instead, place one more small practice into the evening. Before the eyes close, fold a single sentence into the mind. Make it present and gentle. Something like rest is allowed here. Keep it short. Repeat it with a long out breath 3 times. Let the phrase be the hinge for sleep. If someone else keeps watch tonight, take a minute to give them a small blessing in the mind. Wish them calm. Wish them a lamp that burns low and a cup that is warm. The act of blessing another moves mercy into motion. It reduces the sense of solitary duty. Shared vigilance becomes lighter when it is given away as a hope. I also offer a quiet permission. If sleep steals in before the reading finishes, allow it without apology. The voice will continue like a slow river. The presence that holds us is not measured by wakefulness. Rest itself is a form of receiving the care discussed. If the eyes close, let the breath guide you deeper. If wakefulness remains, keep these images in soft focus and return to them as often as needed. Now choose one small gratitude to hold as the last image for the night. It could be a brief kindness someone offered, a small meal that warmed the hands, a moment when laughter came despite everything. Make the gratitude specific and small enough to carry. Let it sit beside the lamp image, in the pocket at the heart. Gratitude does not erase sorrow. It gives the heart a place to land. It is time to prepare for the closing prayer. I slow the pace a little more. The voice becomes a softer footstep. Breath becomes the metronome for the next action. Place the hands where they feel most steady. Make the lamp your companion. Let the heart gather the images and the small sentences that have been offered. I will not ask for a long confession or a catalogue of troubles. One brief act of honest giving is enough. Bring a single name, a single worry, a single longing. I will hold the rest in the prayer that follows. The prayer will be quiet and brief. It will ask for peace that settles deep enough to change the way the ribs move. It will not demand that everything be made right instantly. It will ask simply that mercy be present and that rest be possible. Before I move to the prayer, I place a short blessing in the room. May the images chosen tonight keep their shape. May the breath prove steady. May mercy arrive in small and ordinary ways. May the lamp at the corner of the bed be a witness that someone keeps watch. May the pocket of kindly things grow heavier with small mercies by morning. I fold the thought that the reading is a continuing offer. The voice will return again. The next part will be a short prayer and my final good night. For now, breathe once more. Slow and deliberate. Imagine the parcel you carried tonight resting in an open palm. Let the hand be steady. Let the breath be your witness. If sleep comes, accept it. If wakefulness remains, keep the images and the sentence you chose at the edge of the mind. The room keeps its hush. The lamp keeps its small glow. I stay with the book a heartbeat longer, and then prepare to close with a prayer that will offer peace and a good night. The movement is quiet and deliberate. The next words will be an invitation to rest fully. I close the book with the same gentle motion I have used each night. The lamp tilts a fraction, its circle of light softening at the edges. The room breathes with us. My voice stays low. My aim is to finish with care. I hold a short passage to the ear. It is not an argument. It is a reminder. The message says presence reaches the places that ache. Hear it as a hand set near the rib cage. The hand will not remove everything. It will keep the weight from breaking the spine. We breathe together. Place a hand where the heart rests. If that feels right, let the other hand find a place that steadies. Inhale slowly. Feel the air fill the belly. exhale long. Let the out-breath carry a small piece of the day away. Do this 3 times. Each cycle makes a small room inside the chest. Tonight, I paraphrase a simple line from Scripture. The one who cares draws near when we are weary. The line sits small and true. It does not demand perfect faith. It invites rest. Imagine that nearness as a faint lamp at a window that has always been lit. The lamp does not shout. It simply shows someone is waiting. There is a natural rhythm to closing. Gather a single thing from the day. A small mercy. A brief kindness. A clean cup. A soft word received. Hold it like a pebble in the palm. Turn it once. Let gratitude make the pebble warm. Keep it with the breath. A very small exercise helps the mind settle. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold for 1. Exhale for 6. On each exhale, place one small worry into an imagined palm. Do not try to empty the mind. Do not force perfection. Let the act be literal enough that the shoulders notice. Often the body responds before the thinking does. I tell a last brief story from my own nights. Some evenings the mind pulls, like a stubborn tide. Then a neighbor's lamp goes on. Our door opens. A small voice says nothing weighty. That small presence changes the shape of the night. It is ordinary and real. It is mercy shown in rice and tea, and a steady hand. If any resistance rises now, acknowledge it without argument. Name the feeling with one word. Let the breath soften the edges. The habit of gentle naming does 2 things. It makes the thought less urgent, and it allows mercy to move in. Mercy often arrives where the mind stops insisting. I read another short line slowly. It asks us to bring requests with a thread of thanks. The idea is not complex. It simply trains the heart to notice both need and gift. When prayer contains gratitude, a different kind of calm settles. That calm is not a cure. It is a shelter for the restless. We place one final image in the mind. Think of a narrow path lit by low lanterns. The path is not bright. It is safe enough. Step onto it. Walk slowly, 3 steps. Each step matches an out-breath. The lanterns do not promise an easy journey. They promise light enough to continue. This image is a map for morning and for midnight both. If sleep comes during these final lines, accept it. Sleep is not a failure. It is a form of trust. To close the eyes is a small prayer. Let the body fall into it without apologizing. Rest is one of the ways mercy touches the weary. If wakefulness holds, return to the breath and the pebble practice. Take 2 or 3 more slow cycles. Place any leftover worry into the imagined palms. Repeat a short phrase on the out-breath. I am held. Keep the phrase short. Let it be a soft anchor. Repeat until the mind finds a quieter shore. I offer a brief blessing now. The blessing is small and direct. May the presence you need press gently into the places that ache. May a quiet hand rest beneath the ribs. May small mercies arrive without fanfare. May sleep come, patient as evening rain. And may morning bring soft things to begin again. Before the final prayer, make one small promise to yourself. Choose a single tiny habit for tomorrow. A 5-minute walk. A brief note to someone. a cup of water at sunrise. Make the promise small enough to keep. Small promises gather into steadiness. The prayer is short. I do not use ornate words. I speak with a neighbor's tone. I ask for steadiness, for mercy, for peaceful rest. I ask that the one we lean on will keep vigil over what is fragile. The prayer is offered as a hand laid down beside a sleeping person. It is not a decree. It is an invitation. Now breathe once more. Slow and even. Let the ribs widen. Let the jaw soften. Let the face follow where the breath goes. Place the chosen pebble of gratitude into the pocket of the chest. Let it warm as the body cools. If sharing this time with another, pass the blessing quietly by thought or in a whisper. A shared wish can make loneliness lighter. The presence of another, even imagined, steadies the mind and changes the air of the room. A small liturgy helps close the hour. We fold first into silence. Then we name one short truth aloud, or within mercy is here. We let a pause hold the claim. Finally, a final breath opens the body to sleep. Inhale. Hold a moment. Exhale. Let the word rest. I place the book beside the lamp and feel the weight of the night move in soft intervals. The lamp does not go out. Its glow stays for a while. Like a friend who lingers on the porch after saying goodbye. The voice grows quieter. The room keeps its steady hush. One last image for the mind. A steady hand under the ribs. It does not carry everything. It offers a shelf. Rest on that shelf for the hours ahead. The shelf will bear what it can. In the morning, the day will ask again. For now, accept the offered place. If waking finds the mind at some point before morning, return to the short phrase you have chosen. Repeat it with an out-breath. Let the breath be the workhorse. Keep the motion simple. Keep the voice soft. I end with a quiet benediction. May the hands that hold you be gentle. May the peace that does not depend on outcomes be present. May morning come with small continuations of grace. May the heart learn its steady rhythm. Good night. Rest well. The lamp dims a fraction. More. The book is closed and rests where it may be found again. I sit a heartbeat longer, and then step back softly. The hush remains. The breath keeps its slow measure. The night does its slow work. Sleep, when it comes, will find a companion here.